Okay, only a whole 60 seconds late this week. Hi, everybody. My hair is wet because I took a shower. So, fresh and clean for you this week. Oh my gosh, I think the worst thing for me upon watching back last week's live stream to discover that I really should have brushed the back of my hair. And I'm just really not in the greatest mood this morning. I'm not even going to play. I can't even pretend that I'm happy to be here because long story short, did not get a good night's sleep last night at all. But happily, I got the video done nice and early this week, so I wasn't worried about resting up last night from after being up until 3 o'clock in the morning editing. What up, Phil Logical? How you doing? But yeah, I did. I got it recorded on Monday this week, so I got that bitch up early. Pretty pleased about that. Because, like I say, last night, long story short, okay, the new cat pissed on my foam mattress topper. Nomming your lunch? Right on. Hey, geek girl, how you doing? Like I say, I feel like shit today. I am not even going to pretend to be in a good mood because, the cat pissed on my mattress topper, right? So I had to throw it away because it's just a foam mattress topper. Like, what am I going to do? Wash it? And, yeah, my sister, who, I went and got her a couple weeks ago, and she brought it with her cat, who is not a very friendly cat, and was hiding in my room, and is just not very pleased with things overall, I think. Wait, is that TV because you're a dork? What up? Dorks welcome. I think I am one too, probably. Just possibly. Yeah, but so that was me, just flat on the mattress last night, which, I had the mattress topper on there for a reason. Any chance she'll come out this stream? The cat? Probably not. The cat is in the house. This one is an indoor cat. And, she's beautiful, but I don't ever want that bitch in my room again. Never, ever, 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 ever. No. Because she's very mean. She caught me on my hand yesterday when I was trying to get her out of there. And I don't know if that was before or after she peed right where I sleep. Cats aren't that stupid. She knew, she'd been living in our room for several days. She knows that's where I sleep. Aw, thank you. Thank you, geek girl. Thank you. Thank you. Aw. Is it going to let me like it or what? I don't know. Or is it you liking me? I don't know. Oh, yeah. I'm supposed to get my check this week. My first YouTube check for a whole $100, I think it is. I'm officially a YouTuber, y'all. What? That feels a little weird to say. No offense to your sister, but I'm sure she's great, but she can't compete with a feline. Oh yeah, no. I don't. What is this? An interview show? No. That cat is not welcome on my program. I hate to say it, but she's not welcome in my vicinity. I don't want to be anywhere near that cat, especially right now. I'm very, very angry. Yeah, right? Yeah. Let's go. All right. What am I going to do with it? I don't know what I'm going to do with that little $100. It's not really anything. That's pocket change basically these days. So it sounds like kind of a Latin. It's not. But hey, ever since I learned that the only thing you need to do to be a professional at something is to make money doing it, I was like, seriously? That's a low bar. I could be a professional at just about anything. But yeah, so I'm sleep deprived and in pain. So, sorry. I hope y'all liked the video. That was, you know, you could purchase some substances with $100. That's true. That's true. I could do that. Gonna be coming up time to do that anyway, isn't it? Well, you don't know, but yeah, it is. If you do. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's about all it's good for. Maybe gas money for a while. I mean, $100 would last me a while in gas money because I don't really have anywhere to go right now. I'm not taking hubby back and forth every day to the office anymore because we got the 18-year-old a car, so now he's got his van back. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The show must go on, right? I'm just not even going to play that I'm, like, in a great mood. Because, no. I woke up confrontational and just mean this morning, and I have had the chance to mellow out a little bit, so thankfully for that. After tossing and turning all night, and both my hips hurt, and it's great stuff. And we only have half a battery, so we may have to go in the house and plug this thing in at some point. That's great. I love that for us. Well, anyway, we'll see how far we get. Hey, what did you guys think of the video? Philological, you said you liked the delivery. Like, what about the content though? Like, and the she thing, the balancing your she thing is cute, but like, it's really the gimmicky sort of just little attention getting thing that I had. You know what? Why did I put it on the stool? That's a good idea. Say, tell me the capitalist on the stool too. Yeah, it seems believable. Sorry, what seems believable? I'll tell you, the main side effect of being sleep deprived is being spacey. Like, wait, what were we talking about? There. Now you're not like up my nose. Yeah. And then you look down my shirt. No. Jeez. You. Oh my goodness. But yeah, which part seems believable? I started wondering about the whole attack on the concept of women and how a lot of that has historically come from intersectional angles. Yeah. Divide and conquer. It's all just divide and conquer. It's literally one of the oldest tricks in the book. If there were a book, which I'm sure there is, at least one. Which it's, sort of similar to the way marketing works, really, where you are supposed to create a demand and then fill it. Like the argument would be that black women couldn't realign their she through conversations with white women because their experiences are different. Isn't that why they should? And you know what? I'm not saying I agree with that claim necessarily, by the way. No, I know. I appreciate the devil's advocate. I do. And I would say, like, the biggest beginning of things, do it with whom you are comfortable. That is the whole point. But yeah, racial lines are obviously the easiest line to divide people along. Yeah. And I really don't know, but I wonder what actually would emerge when women trying to do what you recommended, Yeah, same. And I think that a lot of feminism has made the mistake of feeling like we need courage, we need bravado, we need strength. And yeah, we need strength, but we have strength. We don't need bravado. We don't necessarily need courage. We need humility. You know, and across women of all different backgrounds. As in across women of all different backgrounds, what would they realize are the experiences and stuff they genuinely do share in common? Exactly. Yep. And I really did come to all of this from trying to rationalize why, like Andrea Dworkin in particular, is sharp as attack and very important, and I just can't. I just can't for any length of time. I've tried, and I have to put it down. Simone de Beauvoir too. I've tried. I have to put it down after a few pages. I just can't. It's not that I disagree. It's like holding your breath in a swamp, like, and you have to come up for air after a while. I don't know. And like I say, a lot of it is just like they spin themselves into these philosophical corners that end up not making any sense. It's like if the logical extreme of your position is nonsense, you might want to reconsider your position. Just maybe. Or that idea that the goal of feminism is to eradicate women. What the fuck is that? There's for sure some experiences which men seem to have, but almost no women, regardless of what they do. You're right. Like, I think women almost never watch child pornography, right? Whereas some men do. I have no statistics on that whatsoever. I would, that sounds true. That sounds true. I think, I haven't heard that argument that men are visual creatures in a while. And the last time I did, I said to that fella that my visual cortex is by volume as big as his, and that's bullshit. So there's probably some biological experience thing going on behind that. You're right. It informs our perspective. And I think in a lot of ways it forms the foundation of our perspective in the same way of like, you build the house, but you don't necessarily. Let's see, how am I thinking? How do I want to say this? Like, you could build the house and live in the house your whole life, but you don't see the bones of the structure behind the walls. Do you know what I mean? The frame, I guess is what I'm saying. It sort of forms like the framework of our perspective, inevitably, inescapably. And my favorite thing with raising boys is how preoccupied they really are with their penis, starting very early on. That surprised me. That shocked me. And it just occurred to me, that having your genitals dangling out in front of you all the time like that, just swinging in the wind, must be terribly distracting. Yeah, the male brain, female brain thing always seems silly to me. I think when those things are measured, they find that the differences do exist, but they're very small. Like, I think it comes back to a lot of psychology stuff. Where exactly is the line between, behavior and biology? I don't know, and neither does anybody else. Like I said in the video, I think most people are just doubling, tripling down on willfully ignoring that. And a lot of times you're just journey of physical self-discovery is different if you're female. Like I say, you don't have your genitals just dangling out in front of you like that, you know. Never get them caught in a door or a zipper or anything like that. So, you know, there's a certain amount of tucked away, safe privateness about it, you know, that I just informs different, like Freud literally believed that the fear of emasculation, of having your Johnson removed, was the root of morality. Okay, and that's why women had none, by the way. So, you know, to say that the preoccupation is real would be an understatement, I think. And we just don't have that. And I've definitely encountered, like, that's why the dick pic, right? That's why the dick pic. That's why he thinks that that's the way to introduce himself. You know? What up, Big Plans? How you doing? Also, the combos you talked about in the vids sounded like feminist consciousness raising sessions I've read about. Are those things that still happen? Not that I know about. Not that I know about, you know? I wish that, and I'm not a therapist, so I am not proposing to be the one to come up with the therapeutic protocol that I referenced. But we do. We need some sort of, you know, evidence based. You know, I'm sure that there is someone with a better knowledge base in this area probably could think of some sort of a therapeutic framework that might fit nicely. I call psychoanalysis magic dictionary. Right. Now. I think as far as free association goes and like the talking therapy, that's where he was really onto something, you know. Because the larger patterns that emerge, if you let yourself just kind of drift through your mind, can be very instructive, right? That's my catch-all term for any theory or rhetoric which places undue significance on male genitalia, right? Which is most of them at some level, right? And so I suppose, had just a sort of ongoing level of curiosity as to what is the preoccupation with that thing? What? I don't quite get it. You know, so, and that's one, you know, just one data point that's very emblematic of, like, I think the physical differences leading to perspectival differences, okay? Like, from the very beginning, we're on a very basic baby level, okay? You know, on the other hand, name me a man who's had a yeast infection. You know, and it's just like the physical concerns are different. The physical approach is different and informs our perspective from a very early stage. It does. And everyone is going around willfully pretending that this is not a thing. That there's no differences between men and women psychologically. Oh, it didn't involve a bit of research, but one day if you did a video on the vulva drawings of Stone Age art, I'd be super interested in your take on them. Oh, yeah, I've done a little bit of reading about that. I know the lady who devoted her career to Maria Gambutas, who devoted her entire career to researching all of that, and you know, the academic cadre, whatever. The academic school of thought has actually done quite a bit to try and discredit her, and the only reason I even know who she is because Angela Puka referenced her dismissively in a video as if I was supposed to know who she was. So I had to go find out who she was. And I thought that was sort of funny. So that would be the Maria Gambutas video, I think. The one that I've been thinking about doing. Yeah. Oh, my notebook is under the computer. Boom. Okay, we're going to fix that. I need that thing. There we go. Because she's, you know, an archaeologist, and well, she's deceased now. But she's still an archaeologist, just a deceased one. Anyway, She spent her life, her entire career of 30 plus years, literally in the field at a time in archaeology when women were not supposed to be doing field work. So she has all the makings of a feminist hero for sure. Oh, yeah. And oh, yeah, that's right. That's what it was. Because she ended up saying that she ended up claiming to just have like a gut level understanding of these ancient people that was like that's not rationally possible, which is interesting, I think. Uh, See, to me that's intriguing, but I guess I'm not an academic and I'm not a strict materialist. Like, and I mean, really, you want to talk about like maybe there's some sort of ancient genetic level understanding that she managed to unlock with that level of with that amount of research and exposure. Who knows? There might even be a materialist explanation for something like that. It's not as if we actually understand how the brain works. So that's really my beef with strict materialism is it writes off everything that doesn't appear to adhere to its rules. And it's not even open-minded enough most of the time to investigate shit seriously. Some archaeologists think the vulvas might have been drawn by women, and if so, that'd be like a fascinating glimpse at some of that like feminine knowledge that's just been lost to time. Yeah, yeah. Maria Gimbutas thought it was an ancient goddess cult, which is also fun. I suppose both of those things can be true at the same time, right? Where's my pencil? Oh no. And like technically next week's video is supposed to be heresy number 3, which is that misandry isn't feminism because feminism is not about men. The end? Like I don't I just don't know if I over the course of my PhD I've been becoming much less materialist in my outlook on life. I assume you mean. That's interesting. Why is that? And like I cannot become a strict idealist either. That's equally absurd in my opinion. Like obviously, hello, like material reality is a stubborn bitch, right? Like you can't just wish that shit away. On the other hand, it's so overly simplistic. Like, oh, okay, so love is just a chemical reaction in your brain. Not only is it simplistic, it becomes nihilistic. Okay, because some of the most important things about the human being are immaterial. So, you know, we're just talking ourselves out of our collective delusion that we have feelings. It's dark shit, right? That goes to dark places, and I don't like it. Especially on religious matters. I think it's naive to take the super cynical view that the ideas of religious texts and movements don't matter much to the communities that foster them. I'm It sounds silly, but belief in things like the American dream makes your guys' culture totally different in that aspect to say British culture. Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Some of the most important things about human beings are immaterial things. Things that make up the character of your psyche that you don't even, think about as things, right? What would you say is the British equivalent of the American dream? Whatever that is. I mean, is it 2.5 kids in a picket fence? Is it self-determination? Is it some combination of those two? I think it's somewhere between those two. I should know this. If anyone should know the answer to that, it should be me, right? Over there is someone who gets wealthy can become upper class because y'all believe in the American dream. Oh. The British version is being awake? As in, like, getting out of bed? Whereas over here, someone who is raised working class, no matter how wealthy they become, will always be working class. Yeah, over here, what they say is you could take the girl out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the girl. So he stole that from the pub landlord. Nice. He's a guy who would know, right? He's seen some shit, I bet. But yeah, I mean, technically, we have no classes. Like we do. I don't know. At least over there, like you can join the gentry, I guess, right? Like you can get the queen to give you a knighthood and whatever if you play your cards right. Like some strange people have knighthoods. Like, no, no, you can't. Like there is some form of upward mobility over there. I've read about it. Even if the queen knights you, you don't become gentry. Oh, okay. So that's just a So what? You'd have to marry into it? Is that what you're saying? Technically, you might have the title, but you won't be considered gentry. Oh, okay. Well, that's sort of what I'm getting at. Is that over here, like, we don't have a class system, but we do have class. Okay? There's still a social hierarchy, like, for sure. It's just an open secret. You know? Now, even if you marry into it, you're still the class you were raised as. Oh. Okay. So is this considered a bad thing? I mean, it's not as if everybody loves the gentry anyway, right? So, yeah, there's a hierarchy in America, but it's one that people technically can move up through. Well, I mean, yeah, but I. Yeah, I'd say it's bad. It fucks us up. Okay. Okay. So it just makes you feel like whatever you were born as, you're just stuck that way. Like David Beckham is extremely wealthy, but he's still considered working class. Even Sir Alan Sugar. I do not know who Alan Sugar is, but I do know who David Beckham is. Um, his wife is literally nicknamed Posh, which is funny. Is that's ironic then? I'm presuming because she's not upper class either, right? Victoria, whatever her name is just some pop singer, right? So there's definitely a preoccupation with stuff like that and like trying to figure out where somebody's from, right? Class is related to your breeding and access to culture. America is solely based on money. I don't have any, so I wouldn't know. Alan Sugar is our equivalent of Donald Trump, except he never went into politics. Oh. So he's smarter than Donald Trump. Class is related to your breeding and access. Oh, wait. Then we are in the same boat. Right. Yeah. So I guess there is less of a preoccupation with people's background in American culture. That's yeah, because it's much less relevant, I think, to the way that people perceive you. With a few exceptions, if you have a thick Southern drawl, forget it. Forget it. Which most of the younger generation don't actually speak. Like, there's very few young people who talk like that anymore. Which is neither here nor there. However you feel about rural Southern dialects disappearing, but they are. Uh, And like I have discouraged, our kids from taking up some of the local verbal color, if you will, because well, they don't want to live here all their lives. They have ambitions to go live in cities and have jobs with, not rural Southern people. I find it a bit sad. I love the draws. Right, yeah. It's charming. But it carries the connotation of being uncultured. It does. Uh, and it's hard, you don't want to be the one person trying to change all of that. Right? No, I mean, like my one son, he wants to move back to Cleveland. Like my husband's accent. He doesn't think he has an accent. Right, but I'll tell him you love it anyway. That'll. He'll be like, thanks. Wait a minute, like. Now he actually went through quite a bit of speech therapy as a kid, so his accent is really sort of neither here nor there. It really is. It's not southern enough to be southern and not northern enough to be northern, and he sort of sounds like he's not from anywhere. In that way, I guess his accent, you could say, is sort of almost a generic amalgam of like eastern half United States. Obviously, I think the way he talks is adorable. But like, yeah, it's funny because our oldest, she moved out and her accent has gotten really twangy since she moved in with her boyfriend who's from here. Oh, which is sort of funny. But of course, I've always loved British accents. The differences between the distinctions between the different regions are so interesting. You know, regionalisms here are well, this place is so enormous. You know, the idea that you can drive 30 miles from one city to another and have the dialect change drastically is like not such a thing here. Like Ohio is massive compared to like I want to say Ohio is like square footage. You know what? Let's look that up. Square mileage or whatever. How big is Ohio? 4,800. 44,000. I'm sorry. 825. How big is England? 50,301. Yeah, y'all only got 6,000 square miles on Ohio. So, Ohio is fucking massive, okay? It's almost the size of England itself, like the whole thing. And you can drive from Cleveland to Columbus to Cincinnati, which is okay. If my palm is the state, that's from Cleveland to Columbus to Cincinnati, and have the dialect remain essentially the same. Okay, you could drive all day and get out of the car, and people don't sound any different. So, like I say, down here in the South, I know that they have more regionalisms. I think they've had more isolated communities for longer. But so it just the scale of it. Like I've probably told y'all this story, but my aunt had a couple of friends from England come over to visit her one time, and they live in southern Indiana, right? And her friend and her companion, the two English ladies, were going over their itinerary, and they were planning to drive basically the whole country in 2 weeks. They were going to go see Disney World. They were going to go see the Grand Canyon. They were going to do it all in like 2 weeks. And my aunt had to take them aside and say, You guys need to check the scale on that map. In Washington, D.C., I hear that the accent is green and is binary in the sense it only cares for ones and zeros. What? Is it beer o'clock over there? Like, what is what? mm. Here's to that, eh? Where's my letter? Mm. They speak money and money only. Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, I guess most American money is still green, isn't it? You said green, and I thought ecology. You know, like no, no. Yeah, so like you either give money or you don't, and that's all they care about. Yeah. Oh my god. Like my web developer so wanted me to pivot and make a video about Kamala Harris this week. And it probably would have got the views. He's probably right about that. But no, I have something going on and I'm sticking to the plan, you know. But like I don't know, that might be next week. Because as I say, you guys, this misandry's not feminism, because feminism's not about men. The end. I don't understand. I truly don't know that there's a whole lot more to say on that matter. And that's like a short. That's not a video, you know. And I'm just not sure what the heck I could possibly do other than, you know, seek out various examples of people being misandrist and calling it feminism. I don't, which would be like shooting fish in a barrel. There are. You could literally make it a short then. Yeah, right. Like I guess that's what I'll do. And then next week, I'm gonna have to have a different topic because oh, and that's one that gets controversial. Like because there are there are literally women out there who make their feminism about man hating, basically. And it's a popular attack to take sometimes. You know, it can be, what up, Stinky? How you doing? It's a popular attack to take, you know, but like, I don't. It's just not productive. Like, and the idea that being, you know, hateful is not productive, I can't believe that that's controversial. I am not feeling super hot today. I'm not even going to lie. I did not get great sleep last night because the cat pissed on my foam mattress topper. So I had to throw it away. And I had the mattress topper on the mattress for a reason. So I did not sleep well last night. Yeah, I got crap sleep last night and both my hips hurt. So, boo, 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. Oh, how are you doing? But, I mean, I am not like here to be mom to everybody. I am just a mom who's a radical feminist. You know, like, believe me, I have my hands full, unfortunately, as it is. We have 4 kids, 3 cats, and 3 dogs. And yeah, it's all I can do to like, I mean, we this is a safe space to share stuff, you know, but I can't necessarily promise that I will be the most helpful because, like I say, I can't even hardly focus on what I'm trying to do right now because I didn't get any sleep. But, you know, sometimes, Mom, if anyone bullies me, what would you do? Oh. I actually have a stupid amount of experience in that area. Ignore them. I don't know that that's hard, but you should ignore them. Hate begets hate. You just spiral into sadness. Your honesty and strength and conviction will prevail. It's the best we can hope for. Thank you. Thank you. The strength in my conviction is definitely what I lean on sometimes, you know. Although I have been very amused lately to watch some of this commentary about the influencer apocalypse, you know, where nobody wants to just watch some, rich young thing buy a bunch of up and then throw it all away. If anyone tries to fight me, what would you do? What would I do? Like, I can't. I can't. I don't know. I can't. This is so confusing. Like, I don't condone violence. Uh, yeah, on big plans. Thank you. That's very well put. Ironically, I can't think of the word that I want that means that, but yes, that's very well put. What would you do, like that Trump thing? Huh? What up, Scott? It's actually not very hot out here today. It's nice out here today. It's kind of gray, so I don't like what Trump thing. I don't that man is a maniac and I can't and that's what I meant. You're talking about Alan Sugar being the British David Donald Trump, and I said, well, he's just smarter than Donald Trump if he never went into politics because Donald Trump almost got his silly ass assassinated. He could have been at home or on the golf course, living it up as a as a retired television personality. But no, 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 no. He had to get into politics and run for fucking president. And got himself shot at. I don't know. That might make me reconsider my choices. Personally, if people started fucking shooting at me, that might make me reconsider. That would make at least give me pause. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm 76 years old. I could be at home right now. What the fuck? On the other hand, I do. What do you think about the Trump got shot? That's what I'm saying. I think that it's, in a lot of ways, he brought it on himself because his dumbass could have been at home. He's not a fucking politician. Okay. If anything, he is a celebrity, right? So yeah, I don't know. If I were him, I'd be tempted to, pack it in and go play some golf because people be shooting at me. I don't know. I might be done. Which I know is me trying to put myself in his shoes, which is like not gonna work. I think if there was someone on this planet I have less in common with, it'd be hard to find them. It'd be hard to think of that person. I have I don't I flatter myself that I and Donald Trump have very little in common. Like temperamentally, outlook wise. I just don't think he and I see eye to eye on much. So as far as like the political ramifications of it, I'm glad he missed because that's just what that party needs is a martyr. That's a great idea, right? Make Donald Trump a fucking martyr. Maybe that's not the best plan. Maybe that's not the best plan. That was my thought. They fucking deified him anyway. So yeah, what do they crucify him just like they'd all be expecting us to like maybe not, maybe let's not. Whatever the shooter's motives might have been, this was likely ensured Trump's victory this fall. Americans love a victim, especially when he's white and male. I mean, I guess, like I say, Kamala Harris is high on my docket. I'm just not sure what angle to take on it because I don't like her and I don't remember why. Like I had a reason at one point. a few years ago when she was first running for president. I looked into her and I, discovered a few things about her record as prosecutor, I believe it was, that are just such bullshit. So I decided she wasn't my candidate, like 6 years ago. But yes, this probably has made Trump a martyr now. Probably the opposite of what the shooter wanted. But he's not dead. He survived. It was an attempted assassination. You can't be a martyr if you're not dead. I just want to point that out. I don't know. I can definitely see you shooting the breeze with Trump about moving his podium back an inch or two. Hey, you know what? If given the opportunity, I would of course take it. All of a sudden, everybody would know who I am. But I wouldn't be going in expecting to, come to much agreement on anything. Yes, a lot of black men dislike Harris for this reason because she put a lot of black men in prison. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The marijuana convictions and all that. And trying to extend their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state or something. Yeah. I'm not a black man, and that still sounds like some bullshit to me. So. And the fact that, I don't know, maybe she wasn't doing any of that thinking she was going to end up running for president one day. Maybe she wasn't. I've heard this from black men. No, I completely, that's very, yeah. I haven't heard that specific sentiment from black men, but I've heard similar things, And basically the whole putting people in prison for decades over marijuana convictions is some bullshit. I think most people can agree with that at this point. So, yeah. They literally used it to target them. The war on drugs and everything was, at least in large part targeted at the black community in that way, because that was their drug of choice, I guess, and still is. And I think that's I don't know, I think that's fucking cool. Dude gets home at the end of a work day and lights up a joint instead of cracking open a beer. I'm fine with that. I've seen this. That's how a lot of times it is used culturally. And I concur, I sympathize. I don't want a fucking beer either. White people and their preoccupation with alcohol, right? Oh, what is that? Anyway, I feel like I'm just sort of wandering into the weeds with the race stuff because, again, I come from Cleveland. I'm from the Near East side of Cleveland, Ohio, which is, well, mostly black. There's really no two ways to say it. And there's, a lot of Jews there too. So, I was the racial and ethnic minority for a large part of my life. Growing up as a teenager and, as a young adult. And I just, I did not feel excluded for this because of this. I did not feel, a little bit. I didn't go to my high school prom because I knew they were not going to play any music that I liked. But that probably would have been true if it was a bunch of white people too. I just was not in the teen culture. So I don't know. I've just never, so I say all of this to remind everybody that my perspective on race issues is a little skewed from your average white person. I moved down here to Tennessee, and it literally took me 6 months before I went into the grocery store, stopped going to the grocery and going, oh my God, look at all these white people. I'm serious. And I know that that's fucking stupid. I know that that's stupid. Oh, I lost everybody. Oh, there's some people back. Okay. Interrupted by 3 YouTube ads back to back. Holy crap. I'm sorry, YouTube. Am I not supposed to talk about black men? My bad. Joe Biden was the architect of those laws. Yes, and they still positioned him as a choice for black voters. If you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. What the hell is that? Was that actually a slogan somewhere? Thank you all for sitting through the ads. I don't know why they would fuck me over like that. Every nickel in my pocket counts, you know. I'm probably not going to build, buy substances with that money. I'm probably going to save it, honestly, and towards the eventual advertising budget because I want to do just promoting the videos, just like throwing money at Daddy YouTube is not helping anything at all. It's very strange. That was Biden's slogan to Black Americans. That's what Joe said on a black radio station. Wow. Biden did actually say if a black person doesn't vote for him, they're not black. Is he not an old white man? How exactly does he get to determine who is black? Huh? What? Wow, and I thought I was in danger of being racist here for a minute. But what the fuck? That's so offensive. I don't. Wow. That's offensive on several levels. Oh my god. That's really something. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. And I didn't hear about that because, like I say, I live in rural Tennessee now, and well, hence the reason for many black people criticizing Biden's "You Ain't Black" campaign slogan. Yeah, I missed all that. Wasn't exactly culturally relevant locally, I suppose, is what I was saying, what I'm getting at. They mostly look like me, so. Yeah, no, I was aware of, like, his role in the Anita Hill hearings in the 80s, and his whole tough on crime shtick, okay? Back when Democrats apparently thought they had to, pull that shit in order to get elected, right? And is that how we're supposed to take that? Is that how we're supposed to take that? That back then he was just towing the party line? But no, he was, as you say, at the forefront of a lot of that bullshit. It is embarrassing to think about how much racist bullshit was going on in the bureaucracy during my own lifetime. That's depressing. Yep, I remember all that when the Democrats did that 30 years ago. Yep. That's like that era right at the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s is the first era that I have, any recollection of. So, you have the conservatives going hard conservative and and the liberals saying, "Wait, we can do it too." It's and then wouldn't you know it, they elected the guy who went on the black talk show and played the saxophone. Which almost sounds like maybe the nation had other things in mind. Like, I don't know. Not going to sit here and like be a Clinton fangirl or anything, but he's not Ronald Reagan or George Bush, is he? So. And then it's just so funny how the guy who came after him was George Bush. But yeah, we don't do gentry around here. Oh no. We don't do aristocracy around here. Oh no. Whatever. We're just expected to pretend that that's not how that is. I mean, to be fair, apparently the Kennedys are out because RFK Jr. didn't get shit. I mean, he's a maniac. But so were the rest of them, right? Like, no, political dynasties are different to gentry. Yeah, they are. They are. For now. Okay. It's we're teetering on the edge, and don't let anybody tell you different. No, and that's actually the thing that kills me about like the Project 2025 and whatever and all that conservative talking point stuff is that these people seriously want to like a white Christian nation. I've heard of that. It's called Old England. What the fuck? These people want to take the United States and turn it into Old England? That's the most un-American thing I've ever heard. We fought an entire war so that we wouldn't be English anymore. What the fuck is that? I saw this thing about how Trump basically tried to butter RFK up so he drops out because he's taking votes from Trump. I'd believe that. I'd believe that. That probably is a nice Venn diagram, the crossover between those two people who support those two people. Yeah, that makes, yeah. I would buy that. Those are probably the people who appreciate RFK's honesty about his brain worms, right? Oh my god. I too would fight a war in order to not be British anymore. We did. We did. We had a whole war about it. At least one. Not to mention various proxy wars and skirmishes for decades after, okay? So yeah, it is, leaving aside how offensive all that stuff is and how retrograde all that stuff is, it is logically ridiculous. It is rationally absurd. You want to be a white Christian nation? That was 17th century England. What the fuck? I'm sorry. I remember the Anita Hill case very well. That was a very brutal blow to all women back then by acquitting Clarence. Yeah, agreed. And he got promoted to Supreme Court Justice. Yeah, yeah. There's a long precedent of putting rapists on the Supreme Court. Yeah. The Brett Kavanaugh thing only shocked me in that, I can't believe we're doing this again. I'm sorry, but the brainworm thing was just life imitating art. So good. Right, right. And I'm sure that there are people out there who, I'm genuine, seriously saying this. I'm sure there are people out there who appreciate RFK Jr. for his honesty. That's the state of things. That's how low our bar has become. On the other hand, people said that about Trump. He just tells it like it is. Like, no, no, no. I believed Anita Hill back in 1991, and I believe her today. I didn't know anything about it in 1991 because I was 7. But, uh, yeah, to look back at it, obviously she thought she was trying to do her civic duty. Why on earth would you put yourself in that position otherwise? Unless you felt obligated to. How terrifying. But it's like if you see somebody, in the public eye getting ready to assume a position of extreme authority and you know something very, very bad about that person, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's your civic duty to inform the public. Right? And then the way we treat people who attempt to do such things is shameful, to say the least. She was trying to get proper justice. She experienced what so many women have when their rapist gets cleared of all charges. Yep. So glad, knock on wood, I've not found myself in that position. RFK Jr. could be the best brain and most humble politician in the world, but that voice would have me voting for the devil before him. He's so great to listen to. I don't actually know what his voice sounds like off the top of my head. Which I want to say means he's done a shit job of campaigning, but like, I have been actively avoiding that stuff because I'm just going to have to hold my nose and vote against the Republicans again. This was why that case was such a brutal, cruel blow to women back then. Yeah. They made an example of her. Yeah. Which is another thing with a long precedent, right? Long history of women being made an example of to keep other women in line. Oh, yeah. Like, how dare she get in the way of his career? And I'm sure, I don't know this because I haven't looked into it super deeply because I don't feel like I need to look into it any more deeply than this. But, like, surely there was some stink about the historic nature of having a black man on the Supreme Court, right? And this bitch is just trying to get in the way of everybody's good time, right? The media are doing a bit of a blackout on his campaign, actively working to stop him. Weird when they have been crying about saving democracy. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people have been making that point various ways, along the lines of like the liberal pundits complaining about talking about how democracy is on the line and why you should vote Democrat, and then just refusing to acknowledge the idea that maybe Biden shouldn't be the nominee. And Biden ran the witch trail against Anita Hill. Exactly. And that's why we're talking about it. uh, he was not a good nominee to begin with. The fact that he has eroded his administration has eroded women's rights does not surprise me in that, you know, from that perspective. And I saw several people making the point the other day that, oh, good, Kamala Harris, the lady who sat by while the Biden administration chipped away women's rights. Hooray. Like, it feels like a hollow victory. We should be excited, right? At the prospect of the first woman president, that should be exciting. But, it would be a hollow victory, right? It would be. It would be. Whoever the first woman president is, would be just a goddamn patriarchal shill, right? Obviously. How else would you get there? But, democracy is on the line, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about democracy, but religious freedom. Or can we talk about that? My gosh. And I literally had somebody who shall remain nameless because I like them enough to not throw them under the bus here. I literally had somebody say, in all seriousness, the other day, well, Trump said he's not affiliated with the Heritage Foundation. He said he didn't know anything about it. Oh, that's nice. I'm supposed to give a fuck what that lying sack of shit has to say about anything? Why? Tara Reid got the evil eye from the media and ignored when she claimed sexual assault by Joe Biden. Yeah. It's only me too if they don't like him more than you. It's still a popularity contest. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And why is Joe Biden popular? I don't understand. Because he has a nice smile? Like, what is that? But, the Heritage Foundation sure seems to think they're going to have a say in things. And obviously, I want to vote against that. No. Hmm. We're talking federal funding for Christian instruction in schools and outside of school. Nope, 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 nope. And it drives me nuts at this point how people are like, "Oh, that basically have this attitude that stuff is like, oh, that shit's so crazy they don't mean it." Maybe, maybe. It's sort of terrifying how the political class has lulled us into this false sense of security, where full sense of insecurity, really, where we just kind of take it for granted. We can't necessarily believe anything that they say. I don't know. I'm playing with big ideas here, and I'm tired. What are you guys doing? How many of you guys actually watched the video? Because it's not about Donald Trump or Kamala Harris or any of that. Um, like I say, I'm still working on my own vibe this week. Talking about theory versus practice and how I think most of those books that you will come across when you try and look up rad fem theory are actually just those women working out their response to radical feminist theory, on paper. Which is why a lot of times it is, really just some, rageful kind of nonsensical, or, incredibly on point. Like a couple, I want to say at least like Conservative Women by Andrea Dworkin does seem to be more of like a systemic analysis. And I will say that. But especially a lot of the earlier stuff, it falters in its systemic analysis because the rage is too much, you know, and like relatable, right? Totally relatable. Not saying that, oh, they shouldn't have been so angry or whatever. That's not my point at all. I see the Project 2025 thing similar to AOC and the Green New Deal. It's a fringe group who have a white paper to save the world or country. I doubt the money men who actually run things will implement it. No, no, no. See, the Heritage Foundation are the money men who run things. That's the problem. And they've been doing outreach in the last few years in some weird ways. They're the ones who gave Kelly J. Keene the majority of her money to come tour the states. This is just arch conservative think tank. Okay, why exactly are they funding something called Let Women Speak? I don't care how you spin it. That's weird. It looked weird to me years ago when it happened. Okay. And like having to cross your fingers and hope they won't implement it. No, it's not enough for me. No. Okay, we're just after 1 o'clock. Our battery is doing not great, but okay. Watch, the battery's gonna threaten to die on me like 10 minutes before we're supposed to be done anyway. Watch. That's how it'll go. That's how it'll go. Turn the brightness down, maybe. Mm. Try and save that battery a little bit. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm going to get some good comments on this video. Really? Because I don't necessarily expect you guys to like give me a whole lot of pushback about that, but I don't know. The over it ladies might. The women on over it might have something to say. That's the kind of people who I figure might actually be sort of mad at me for, coming for the rad fem theory. And I took the quotes out of context and whatever. I did. I have no. Don't batteries struggle more in the heat? I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's really not that hot out here. Believe me, I would have mentioned it by now if it were. I have no confidence in my position. It's just a feeling. And the great Ben Shapiro said facts don't care about my feelings. Well, don't take this the wrong way, but the American election definitely doesn't care about your feelings because you're like a Brit, right? So you don't get to vote. So it's okay. I don't get to vote in your election. I didn't get to vote in your election either. So. No, and honestly, this is going to sound weird. I loved the topic this week too. Never thought to think of FM writing as a reaction to FM theory before. Thank you. Thank you. Like I say, I had to come up with an explanation for why it's important and like not good. I thought your last bid was one of your best. It was inspirational and thought provoking. Oh, thank you. You mean last week's the heresy #1 about the kitchen baggage? Yeah, that one was a long time coming. And I may develop that one into a whole series on its own because goodness knows that topic is deep and underserved, right? Thank you, though. Yeah, that's encouraging. And like I was about to say, this is going to sound weird, but I find people like Ben Shapiro inspiring. And like ContraPoints, a few weeks ago, I put myself kind of up directly against ContraPoints because it's like I'm going to say it again. I'm confident that there's more substance in my little 10-minute video essays than in a 2-hour video by that guy. Okay. And it's just if those people can make it, apparently like the marketing advice that I was finding is things like grow your brand organically, like it takes time to do it right and think holistically and da 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 da. I have failed in watching today's. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thought provoking. What are your thoughts on it? That's a good question, right? And what are your thoughts? One thing I struggle with right-wing women by working, though, is getting stuck on how to apply the writing to today. Maybe instead I need to find a way to absorb the information before comparing. Yeah, and I think it was her little take on the mystery of why women are, support. I suppose it's an exploration of conservative internalized misogyny, right? So, which needs doing, right? I mean, she's not one, which might be to people in my life. Yeah, comparing to people in your life. Yeah, and but so not being from that culture, I think, is going to limit her. Her. I've encountered, quite frankly, some really good analysis along similar lines from people who have left that community, who grew up, right wing conservative and left, women mostly. But so that's what we've held them to too high a standard, right? Because we've been confused about what it was they were trying to achieve. Okay, and I think maybe even they sometimes were confused about what it was they were trying to achieve. Are you analyzing society, or are you analyzing your view of it? Right? And the two are really just intertwined to the extent that it's impossible to not do both. And that's my point. Is that you have to stay humble. You have to remember that this is your perspective you're talking about. I know I've seen people say that about Dworkin, that they're put off by her because of some of her subject matter. Like, well, I was never in the sex trade. It's like, okay. Then maybe those points are not relevant to you. But, like, God forbid you learn how the other half live, I guess. I don't know. Like, you should approach it with more sympathy and less, like, being told this is how it is, because that's how it was for her. And that's important, but not generalized, It's valid, if you'll allow me the term, but not representative necessarily. Am I making, is that, it's a work in progress, this idea. Because I want to save these books. I do. I want to reframe them in a way that makes them more valuable. In a way that makes them more instructive, They to me look like blueprints, for expressing some of this. Like, rage is not rational, right? And it's not going to bring you to rational conclusions. But those conclusions still need to be reached and examined, right? Like, that's therapy. That's, like I say, we need a therapeutic protocol for this stuff. And I am not a therapist. I feel like somebody with a greater background in this area could probably, find a modality that might fit well over our, the needs of what it is that I'm talking about. I'm not that person, sadly. I'm not the person to write the feminist therapeutic protocol. I'm not. But that's what we need, And each one of these women, I think, historically kind of went through this in isolation all on her own, right? And sometimes those books, they feel like cries into the void, right? Like, is anyone else out there, anyone else, right? I'm losing people again. I don't understand. Where did y'all go? It's fine. Mm-hmm. Maybe that number is deceptive anyway. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Another thing, big thing I kept seeing repeatedly in the market research I was doing as far as brand building is, don't go by the numbers. No, don't become obsessed with stats. Because for one thing, that's how you end up in the content creation loop, right? You find the thing that takes off, and then you just keep doing that again and again and again. And you lose your flexibility. Because every time you try and step outside the box, your views dip again, because of course. And then you train your viewership and you train the algorithm to expect that one thing from you. And then that's how you end up, with this bad creator burnout, apparently. So, basically this whole slow and steady wins the race thing that I've been doing for 5 years. So, about to be the latest trendy thing. So that's weird. It's an anti-trend, I think, if anything. I see it all the time with other YouTubers that chasing the algorithm is soul crushing. Right. And that's not what I'm doing. That is not what I'm doing. Like I said, my web developer friend at our Monday meeting was very, very like, he wasn't pushy about it, but he was sure that I should pivot to Kamala Harris and I should talk about Kamala Harris somehow this week, because everyone's going to be talking about Kamala Harris and that's going to be the hot search term. And he's probably right. That would have got the views, right? But no, I'm working on a video series, like, which is actually a thing that they said, for community building and brand building and whatever. And when I say brand, I don't mean like McDonald's or Kraft cheese. I mean just, basically the lore surrounding like your persona. Who are you and what do people know you for? And if anything, no one is ever going to know me for clout chasing. not why I'm here. I'm here because I have stuff to say about things. So I'm just going to continue doing that. And I know the frustrating part is I know that there is a pretty broad audience actually, because I have only been dipping my I did the blog for several years. I've done this for several years. And the responses that I get are overwhelmingly positive, aside from a few trolls. And like I said, I went back to the blog after having abandoned it for like 2 years because I think we're still getting like 20 views a day. Dead in the water, hadn't touched it in 2 years. I'm like, okay. I haven't had my viral moment yet, And I don't want to become preoccupied with that. I hear collaborations are good. I have no idea who in the hell I might collaborate with. That's the thing with actually, like, forging your own niche, I guess, or whatever it is I'm doing. And, like, that's the other thing. Is, like, I try to stay above the fray as far as right versus left. So, like, conservatives come across my material and they see me as a man-hating lib, and liberals come across my material half the time and they see a conservative, trad wife, I guess. I don't know. But so that level of ambiguity, I think, actually serves the message. And I don't necessarily want to come out in the videos and make a big, because this here, y'all, my core audience, you guys watching here live with me, and then I don't know, there's regularly 50 or 60 of you guys who watch this afterwards. So shout out to you guys. I see you. Mwah. You guys are like my core group, so we'll go ahead and get political in here. But like the feminism is not a right or left issue. I firmly, you guys know conservative women need that shit the most, right? Come on. Yeah. So I don't see a reason, like, I think it goes against my purposes to be aggressively Democrat. I do. But then, it doesn't, the not being polarizing thing doesn't serve for virality. It doesn't serve for algorithmic attention. It doesn't, So I'm just going to have to remain a hidden gem, at least for now, until somebody with, I don't know, a big Twitter following or something stumbles across my stuff. I don't know. You guys, I got Twitter back a couple of weeks ago. I had to create a new account and everything because I guess my old one had been down for so long. I've been out of it for so long, it's just gone. I didn't recognize me at all. I was like, oh my God. So that's fun. And I have 2 followers, one of whom is Elon Musk, who apparently, pulls like Tom used to do on MySpace. Just follows everyone. I don't know who joins the platform. I hope. I assume that's how that works. I cannot imagine I did anything other than that to draw his attention. And for all I know, he has a bot that follows everyone who joins the, but that was sort of weird. You have 2 followers. Oh, who's that? What the fuck? Like, I did not follow him, needless to say. I did not. Like, that's not why I'm on there. I'm on there, there's still, I think I recognize some of my old, turf buddies out there still turfing it up, so that's cool. Fighting the good fight, Well, Elon. Yeah, right? Like, I don't. The idea that my username flashed across his screen and he saw it with his eyes wigged me the fuck out. Like, I hope it's a bot. I sincerely do. Okay. The idea that Elon Musk even has any sense of the, knowledge of my existence wigs me the fuck out. It did not occur to me he was paying attention at that level. On the ascendancy, all right? Woo! I'm only going to live for so long, though. This can't take too long. No, but that's the thing about being a writer, is that at 40, I'm still a baby writer. It's definitely a bot. People run follow bots and get followed. Okay. That was my initial assumption after my assumption after the initial, oh my God, But so how about this, you guys? I had a thought, and I've been meaning to ask y'all this since I had this thought almost a week ago, basically right after the other live stream. So as far as being an author, right? And I'm working on the second draft of book 1. I want to have it done by the end of the year. I'm on track to have it done before the end of the year. And would y'all be interested in, as an offering for members, to be the first to get a look at my book? Is that something that, because I really don't have a whole lot. I don't think any of my members are here right now, all 3 of you guys. But anybody who I should have said this at the beginning, but so anybody who, I'll make a community post about this too, I think. Because to me, it just seems like the perfect tie-in, so that you guys, my core, community group, are probably the ones who would be most interested in reading the damn thing in the first place, right? Then you guys could be my beta readers and give me, feedback and get involved in the whole writing process, which is pretty cool. And it, makes so it ties the 2 of them. You'd sign up for that? Sweet. Oh. At like the $3 level, is that reasonable? Because I don't want to give it away, obviously, but. And, that would be unlimited access for reading. It wouldn't be had like a time limit. You could go at your own pace. Not editing, obviously, because that would drive me insane. But like, I'm not a member at the moment, but I intend to become one once I'm working my first real job. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So, when is your thesis due again? September, right? So you might have that wrapped up by the end of the year too, huh? That might work out. Lately, like what I've been doing lately is really sculpting the first 40 pages or so as a jumping off point for both me and then the reader later, really making that a firm, like, because we establish our setting and all our characters within those first 40 pages. September, rock and roll. So, and that's what's on the docket for this week, is to go back and add a little bit of like exposition, and like, for example, there's 2 scenes in a greenhouse, right? And wherein we meet an important secondary character, who later becomes a main character. But anyway, not the point. And then in between those 2 things, there's something that happened. Like they go to the beach, and it is alluded to but not shown, because the outcome of the trip to the beach is the sunburn is the point. Okay. And that's the kind of thing where I think to myself, should I show the trip to the beach? It doesn't add anything other than maybe a little bit of, local color, if you will, for the time period. And like, do we give a fuck what their swimsuits look like? Is anyone like, it doesn't add anything to the plot, so I left it out, No, don't show it. See, that's what I'm saying. And that's the kind of question that I have. But like, I would love for someone to read through those first 40 pages and then answer that question. You know what I mean? Like, is there, but so that's the kind of question, one of the kinds of questions that I would have for a beta reader is like, is there any point where I didn't show something that you wanted to see? Is there any point where I left out information and left you kind of scratching your head going, wait, what happened? Because that's the problem I'm having, is that at this point, I know all the background information. I have all of the perspective, and I have all of the, the framing and everything. I know all that. So it is difficult for me to read through it and really get a feel for how well I'm informing the reader, because I already know everything. And it's one of the reasons that, beta readers are so valuable. And yeah, it would be a way to sort of drum up anticipation and excitement and interest in the book and tie them in together, in a direct way. And actually give my members something as a perk for being a freaking member, because up to this point, I have not had the ability to like produce extra content or anything like that. Just trying to make shorts is like, I made one the other day, replying to Kyle Kalinsky, because he said some dumb shit. He goes, that if given the option, he's always going to default to incompetence because that's Occam's razor. I'm like, why is assuming incompetence on the part of people in authority the simplest explanation, Kyle? What? That just sounds like you trying to make yourself feel better. Really, it sounds like cope. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna just put that out there. You know. So I think I'm gonna keep doing stuff like that when the mood and moment strike. You know, when opportunity knocks, I'm gonna start answering more often. I think. As a build up towards the end of the year, because once I get the second draft of the first part of the novel finished, then I feel like I'm going to have anything more to promote to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll feel more serious promoting myself as a writer, you know? And I'm going to go, and I'm building up the brand on the channel to basically go ham probably early next year with self-promotion here, there, and everywhere. And I'm trying to do research as to what would be the most effective way to do that. Because like I say, just throwing money at daddy YouTube is not really helping anything at all. At all. At all. We've been doing that for like 2 months. So, and I think my subscriber count has actually sort of stabilized, which is the opposite of how that's supposed to go, right? Like, what the fuck? So fine. Obviously, I need some kind of strange guerrilla marketing tactic to reach other women like me who are picky and busy. You know, it's fine. Word of mouth is great, though. I wish Joe and Mecca were here because they would love their take on this. Or, you know, Sarah Bow. But yeah, I know people watch this after it goes out live. So if any of you guys have any thoughts on that, please do share them in the comments. I love the feedback, and I'm trying to pull my threads together at last. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Over the next roughly 6 months or so. And yeah, that's what's on the docket for this week, is just finish smoothing up those last 40 pages or so, and add a little bit of expositionary, like internal monologue kind of thing, or like it's basically in the form of a memoir of like an old person like recounting all this stuff. You know, I was blah, I did such and such. You know, so I'm gonna firm up that framing in those first, you know, few chapters of this is an older me telling you this story, you know, because there's been some confusion on that point. I know, because of like the verbiage. Like at one point, it's a little girl in the story, and you know, she refers to her hand as like a grubby claw or something like that. And somebody said, "Why would a little girl refer to herself that way?" I'm like, I mean, that's a good point, but it's not really the little girl in question telling the story. Like, it's her older self telling the story, right? So, and apparently I did not imply that strongly enough. Apparently all the past tense verbs didn't clue anyone in, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I can solidify. I can, you know, firm that up. That's fine. That's fine. It's probably a good idea. It's probably a good idea. You know, and I'm really trying to draw this character clearly, you know. Like, if after reading this novel you don't feel like you met this person, I have failed. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make one of those characters. So I need to, you know, I'm developing her storytelling voice, you know, which is sort of on top of my own, you know. This isn't, so it's like, it's not even in my writing style. It's like the character's storytelling style. So that's its own thing. Writing is so weird. Well, turning down the screen brightness seems to have helped a lot. Knock on wood, we might actually make it to 2 o'clock. And the 2 bookend scenes in the greenhouse function as the meet cute, essentially, but like they're kids when they meet, so And I'm both looking forward to and dreading getting into the rest of the first novel because, like, here's a secret for you. The first part of the 3 actually already had 3 drafts like 2 years ago before I moved on to write the other 2/3 of the book. Um, so, looking at the amount of work that it does need is a little, uh, it's a little devastating. It's a little, it makes me a bit sad, but it is, what it is. It is the work. Is Cole's med still doing good? No. Yes. Yes. Wait, did we do that? Did I take care of that? Oh, shoot. I shouldn't be talking about that on here. It is relentless, though. I tell you what, relentless. I'm like, where did everybody go? And we're going to get another ad here. Is it just killing me with ads? Is that what it is? That y'all don't want to sit around and watch a bunch of ads? Which, would sympathize with. I don't know. What happens if I skip the ad? I've never tried that. Apparently, we've had plenty. So let's give that a shot. Yeah, there we go. Pop down for water, sorry. No worries, no worries, no worries. We had like 10 people in here a little while ago, and that was pretty cool. I wish, more people would hop in the chat, but I guess that's how that goes. On the other hand, like, man, some big streamers and stuff, their chats go so fast they can't even respond to them. Not sure what the point of that is. Like, I'm here to hang out with you guys. I usually watch the recording, just happened to not have meetings today. Right on, right on. Like I say, I see you guys. And I feel like the people who come for the live stream after it's live are probably my core people, right? Love to y'all. Because that's... And I had somebody say that the essays are their second favorite after the live streams. So, apparently I'm decent company, which is going to help with the whole, building a media persona thing, which is what I'm trying to do. Straightforwardly, I'm making no bones about that. The library I'm in is 6 flights of stairs, and the only drinkable water is all the way at the bottom. That's terrible. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Do you at least have a bottle you can fill? I presume, right? But yeah, and it's so encouraging to get the little bit of feedback that I have got from you guys. Not that you guys are, falling down on your job or anything. I really wish that I don't know how I have 1,300 subscribers and the videos get 300 views. That's frustrating, But still, from the feedback that I have got, it's really nice to get the impression that what I'm saying is making any sense. Because that's the scary thing about coming up with your own ideas. It really is sort of like, those first 40 pages that I've read them so many times. I know all the background, and I know what all the foreshadowing means, and I know all the So, like, forest for the trees, I'm too close to it. I can't see it clearly. I might be a little preoccupied with the book. Sorry. And yeah, you guys are the people that I would want the feedback from. Truly. Why am I going to go search for beta readers? Why am I going to do that? That seems silly. That sounds like it's better than average. I heard that only 1 out of 10 of subscribers watch a creator's videos on average. Really? Well, that's abysmal. Like, I feel sorry for those creators. Like, what is that algorithm doing? Why bother to subscribe to something if it's not going to recommend you the videos? Well, and it's summertime. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in the news that I am avoiding talking. I'm not avoiding, but I am not directly I'm not talking about the hot button topics in my videos, and I don't tend to do that. So, I figure once it starts to get cold outside and people are stuck inside again, maybe, I don't know. Oh, I subscribe to 2 tons of stuff I don't watch. I subscribe to tons of stuff I don't watch too, but a lot of that is because it's either opposition research that I want them in my feed in case they say something really insane because I want to see it. Or, stuff that I was interested in a few years ago that I'm no longer as interested in, but I don't know that that's going to be true forever. And I don't necessarily want to lose the gems that I found, I put the bell on for a few choice channels so I get them in my notifications. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's what I do too. And oh my gosh, there have been a few people who put out wicked amounts of shorts every day, and I've had to take them out of my notification feed because they were driving me insane. Or those political who is the Young Turks are awful about this. They will I guess record a long broadcast or whatever it is and then slice that shit up into 15-minute chunks that they then post one after another all fucking day, and they crowd out my feed and it drives me insane to the point I don't even use that thing half the time anymore. Bye-bye. When are you gonna be home?
Definitely before 9:45 because I'm Zach and Jessica's ride everywhere right now. Jessica needs to be picked up.
Gotcha. Okay. Love you. Be safe. Have fun. YouTube's short system is really borked, I find, compared to Facebook Reels. Borked in what way? Does it not have a good recommendation algorithm? I really don't know. I don't like shorts. They aggravate the snot out of me. I am really just a long form content girly. If 5 minutes counts as long form content, which that's a low bar. Shit. If this battery dies on me, I'm going to be so angry. I mean, I don't know. It warmed up out here. It cleared up out here, so maybe we could go sit on the side patio and not get dripped on. I like my YouTube shorts have a limited amount of content that seems to repeat, and often it's really generic stuff, less related to my specific interest. Okay, so yeah, it has a not as good recommendation algorithm. Okay, what? YouTube's recommendation algorithm needs work? I had no idea. That sounds very plausible to me. Yes. But yeah, we might have to go try and sit on the side patio, and I'm going to get a soggy bottom because the computer's going to die. So, hold on for just 1 minute. Hang out. Enjoy the bushes. And I'm going to go and get the cord, and we're going to go sit on the side patio because I don't want to lose you guys. That would suck. Hang on. Oh. Throw stuff in bag. Ugh. All right. Just a minute. Right back. 1 second. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh. Oh no. There we go. Get us plugged in over here. Oh yeah, I had a massive canopy fail. It sucks. So everything is wet over here. At least it was earlier. Hoping maybe we've had enough evaporation that I'm not about to be completely sodden, you know. Hooray, battery saved. All right. Nope, still wet. What do we say? Oh, I can turn the brightness up so I can actually see you now. Red Mom had to leave us. Bush just hesitating. I had actually wondered if the YouTube algorithm fixed itself recently. Oh, why were you wondering that? Did it? I have not noticed any difference. Thank you all for your all week. Damn, we're really getting to the root of things here, huh? I don't want to push the time. Yep. My radical shrubbery. Would you expect anything less? And if we're not having fun, what are we doing, really? If we're not amusing ourselves, what are we doing in life? That is so weird. Okay. The ashtray is wet on the bottom, right? But not the inside? The mysteries of life, huh? Oh my god, bong time. Are we finally getting shenanigans? Right. I don't know. I got to keep you plugged into the wall. There's only so many shenanigans I'm capable of with you guys plugged into the wall. So, I mean, shoot, you know, I'm a content creator. What kind of shenanigans would you like to see? If it's on brand, I might give it a shot. I'm always open to ideas. The table's wet too. Boo. Makes me sad. But yeah, I did. I spilled it. I guess that means you're a couple minutes behind me, I think. I don't know. Let me see if this thing is still usable or if I need to go get water for it. Which, if that's the case, it's just going to wait because we're in our last few minutes. It's not that important. Yeah. Still functional. I think my hair is almost dry, too. Only a little frizzy today. But, like, it's so humid out here. It was raining all morning. Like, the idea that I'm not going to have frizzy hair today is... That's not possible. It's not going to happen. Actually, my oldest daughter, well, our second oldest, really, our oldest who lives with us, who just left, was saying to me this morning that she didn't even bother straightening her hair because it's so wet. You know, it's not even worth it. You know how, like, a year ago when you subscribed to a smaller channel, the recommendation tab would either show you major channels, like CNN or whatever, or only that channel's other videos. Whereas back in the day, the related tab would show you other smaller channels with similar content. Oh, maybe I wasn't on YouTube that long ago. Because, like, I truly... Or maybe I did. I don't know. I don't remember that. That sounds nice. That's true. I have been getting, you know, some smaller creators. Maybe. You know, now that you mention it, I have been seeing, so having some smaller channels recommended to me that, like, cover relevant topics to me. So maybe I'm not getting it on my end, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like my videos are being recommended to people based on interests. Like, you know. I mean, yeah, I'm still the big bad turf and everything, but I'm also not. I'm also other things. And like, as if being incendiary, as if being offensive is a reason, like, will get the algorithm to not promote your content. That's not how that works, is it? No. So I don't buy that as an explanation. You evil turf. Nobody wants to watch that. Yeah, you do. Or you wouldn't be here complaining at me about it. You love to hate me. And the algorithm loves that shit. So, no, it's not that. So now I wonder if your channel is being shown in the recommendations for a slightly twisted female or that Karen woman. Right, yeah. Which would make sense. They come up in my list inside the studio, inside the YouTube studio. It gives you a list of like other channels that your viewers also watch, and they're both on the list. That list is about contains pretty much who you'd expect it to. What?
Mama,
Huh, baby?
could I
Could you please eat?
some fish sticks?
Yeah. Tell your brother to make some fish sticks. Sounds good. Because I'm stuck on here for at least another 8 minutes. But so that would make sense. So then why, that's my subscriber rate flatlined the last month or so. I mean, and the thing is, on the one hand, it's very, very frustrating. And part of the reason is that it's so frustrating is that I don't really care. I don't. It doesn't change what I'm doing. I'm kind of married to what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm all speed ahead here on this here project, and that's all the irons I have in the fire. Like, this is my passion project, and if people, I would love. I really like. I don't need that many. My goal is 10,000. I feel like 10,000 would be amazing, and I could make a decent living off of it. From everything that I could find. I don't know that I'd be able to, support myself and my whole family and take my husband out of the job market or anything like that. Oh no, the algorithms love promoting incendiary content. Right, yeah, so it's not that. It's not that I'm the big bad turf. That's not the problem, ironically. Maybe I'm not big and bad enough. I don't know. But I guess what I'm getting at is I mean what I say. So like I'm kind of devoted to it. I can't just switch up my content to try and build the channel that way. Facebook has figured out that I'm learning Romanian and Greek. So it's figured out a great way to get clicks out of me is to put really transphobic Romanian Greek articles in my feed. Wow, but it works too. I'm not immune to propaganda. None of us are. And I'm going to reiterate what I was saying last week, I think it was. This is the propaganda is storytelling. Right? It's narrative building. That's what propaganda is. Okay. And I think one of the problems with a lot of the culture, modern culture, is that we have given up storytelling. We suspect any form of narrative framing because people use them to lie to us all the time. Unfortunately, that's just how the human mind works. Yeah, I imagine the kinds of videos you're making are useful for you to even just have to bring up. What do you mean? Like I am working out my own ideas. Yeah. And this is a growth process for me too, and I hope that that's endearing. It's certainly authentic. And so then someday, y'all who've been with me for a long time will feel that. We're going to feel like we've known each other for a long time. We're going to feel like we've grown together because we will. That's the plan. Hey, I made this argument earlier. Go watch this. What up, Kitty? How you doing? Yeah. Yeah. It is getting to that point. And that's at least half the reason I've stopped covering a lot of the trans content is because I can only make those same arguments so many times. before I did, I literally would find myself referencing, okay, well, we talked about this in this video, and da-da-da-da-da, and then just kind of repeating myself. But, yelling at a different person. Blah. This is a human being. I had to, grow from that. I don't even want to say as an artist, because that's not art, but as a thing I'm doing with my time, I had to grow from that, because how depressingly repetitive, And it is an endless game of whack-a-mole. You could play that game forever. You could, if that was one's goal. But no, my goal is to actually add to the culture in a significant and positive way. Which sounds arrogant, but there it is. It's going. Oh dear. Yes, I would not keep coming back if it was the same trans-related content all the time. Great. I wouldn't keep coming back. I stopped watching shit like that. Love to Karen Davis, but how many times can you make that video? How many times can you watch that video? Trans person does crazy thing. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. And that's the part I'm at right now. Yes, we've established this problem very well. And, right? And then what? And that literally is what I find myself thinking when I watch, stuff like Karen Davis these days. Is, yep. And what are you getting at? I'm finding these feminist heresy videos quite interesting. Good. Like I say, the next one, we've had a couple people show up since I said this last. The next one's probably going to be a short. Heresy number 3. Number 3 is probably going to be a short, because it is just that misandry is not feminism, because feminism is not about men. The end. That's it. That's not even a 15-second video. I'm going to have to do a little intro and an outro just to make it long enough to even qualify as a short, because I just don't have a whole lot more to say on that. But I do think that the kitchen baggage one has the potential to develop into a whole series unto its own, because that is definitely an area of women's experience that is underserved and underdeveloped, understudied, underphilosophized about, And man, I have read some navel-gazing, high on their own farts shit that men have written that's been a bestseller. I have read some drivel written from the masculine perspective, right? Just some absolute, there are guys, journalists, Rolling Stone guys and whatever, who made their entire, career writing masculinist drivel about their peen feels, basically. So on that note, I feel pretty secure that, as women, we should not be embarrassed to say what we feel and think, because they're certainly not. If we're going to take our cues from them, let it be that way. I'm on top of it today. Thank you. I didn't. And you got here late, so you didn't hear this part. But yeah, the new cat. We got my sister here a couple of weeks ago, and she brought her cat. And the new cat pissed all over my foam mattress topper yesterday, so I had to throw it away. And I had that on the mattress for a reason. So I didn't really get any good sleep last night at all. I'm so cranky. That's really funny. No, I had to throw it away. I just had to throw it away. Long story short, we've taken care of it now. But last night was a little bit of an adventure for me. And I'm just going to skip this ad too, because apparently we got 3 in a row right at the beginning. Oh, the kitchen baggage. It's the baggage that we brought with us from the kitchen, okay? This tendency of feminism to ignore that legacy, because we want to just pretend that shit is over and done with, that we're not all terrified of femininity and everything associated with it still. It was the one 2 videos ago. You know, but to think of it metaphorically, it's like we collectively escaped from the kitchen, you know, a few decades ago, right? And into the workforce and all that, and, you know, lines of credit and all that good stuff. But we all still carry this legacy of that, just, you know, abusive system in our psyches. So, you know, and it shows up, it is, you know, like the feminist rejection of the idea of the nuclear family. It's like, okay. And I could not find any solid analysis about this. I could not find any solid analysis. You want to talk about the nuclear family versus like multi-generational households? Okay, fine. But that's not, when people say the nuclear family is a prison, that's not what they mean, is it? They don't mean that not living with your mother-in-law is a prison, do they? Read angles. Yes. Right. That the original division of labor is that between men and women. Yeah. And that goes, yeah. No, I do. I wholeheartedly agree with him on that. And I think it's wild that some 19th century German dude spotted this. Like, good on you, man. Like, what? That's not where I expected to find that analysis. Who knew Friedrich Engels was a radical feminist? But that's what that is, right? It's like a very concise statement of one of the pillar ideas of radical feminism before radical feminism fucking existed. So, wow. Which is weird, wild stuff. It doesn't make me a Marxist, though. But, you know, and I need to, at some point, read up further on that. And, like, the theory of, you know, the proletariat overthrow of the bourgeoisie and whatever, like, theoretically that happened about 100 years ago, give or take. And, like, that mustache he had was no joke, yeah. Well, 19th century men, right? Boy, did they have some facial hair, am I right? Oh, my God. General Ambrose Burnside has a whole thing named after him, right? Come on, like, they had it going on with the facial hair. But, like, how, you know, so that analysis of the proletariat overthrowing the bourgeoisie and whatever, like, that theoretically happened at least once. And the effect has not been one of, you know, also read Patriarchy and Accumulation on a World Scale, Women in the International Division of Labor by Maria Mies. I shall add it to the list. Sadly, I mean, that's the real reason that, like, I love this, and one of the big reasons that I love this interplay and checking my ideas with, you know, other people, and that they do make sense, whatever. And I love pushback, frankly. Sometimes people will say, hey, you misunderstood, blah. And I actually enjoy that because I don't have the time or the extra energy to focus long enough to read anything, you know, like that right now. So I am sort of piecing it together on my own, you know. And I figure that if there's substance to what we're all talking about, I should be able to do that fairly well, right? I would love to read these books. I'm not going to lie to myself and say I have time right now. I'm trying to write a book, like I was saying, so... Yeah, it's 2:05, but we're hanging out. Kitty, you just got here, so, you know, maybe we'll give it another 15 minutes. Who knows? Something like that. That'll be great for understanding why dissolving the nuclear family structure. What? Dissolving the nuclear family structure. Sounds like you're in the middle of a sentence. But, like, you can't dissolve the nuclear family structure, and that's my point. That's why that's a weird, like, anti-feminist point to insist upon, I think. Because I had a sort of related thought about that the other day. Do you know how the right are pushing childbearing as women's duty and their purpose and such lot? Like, if you have two straight people and they procreate. You have a family unit. I don't understand how you're going to just make that not a thing. Am I missing something? I've genuinely looked into this and tried to figure out what I'm missing here. Almost a literal form of proletariat, right? Oh, like women are the proletariat? Yeah. Yeah. Again, I guess that point was not lost on Friedrich Engels. Like I think of women as a class whose primary value is their offspring. Right. Labor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dissolving the nuclear family structure is about involving external family into your structure. Okay. Multi-generational households and aunties and uncles and cousins and stuff. Okay, fine. But that doesn't, that is adding to, you're not dissolving that core unit in that, you're augmenting it. And I'm all for that. Raising kids on your own is for the birds. This bullshit. And I don't think that's how that's supposed to work. I'm all for larger social structures surrounding that. But that's not dissolving it. I don't... I'm starting to slowly get through Janina Ramirez Femina. 14 hours left to go. It's so hard to find time to read. Are you listening to it as an audiobook? I should probably try that. That's probably going to be what I end up doing. Is, listening to things as audiobooks while I'm walking or doing laundry or whatever. But, like, here's my problem with that. One of the big ways that I process things like that, it's like, and this is why I don't do it with library books either. I need to own the book because I need to mark it up. Because if I'm really interested in learning whatever the fuck is in the book, as I read it, I'm going to highlight things that hit me. Okay? And then when I'm done with the book, I go back through and I pull all that shit out and I write it in a notebook together. And that's like my notes for that topic. That sometimes then develop into like other thoughts of their own. For me, But that's like kind of an in-depth process, Nuclear family structure is a hierarchy of men on top where they own women and children as property. You dissolve that structure, not the family. Okay. So the family unit is not the problem. I feel like it is implied to be. I feel like that's, where the partnering with the man and the procreating thing is seen as the problem. Which, like, if you're a lesbian and you don't want to do that, great, don't. But not all of us are lesbians, so we have to solve this problem. We have to figure this out. Feminism should be frontline on that, right? And that's the kitchen baggage thing I'm talking about, because feminism does not want to deal with straight relational politics. Feminism has just kind of been like, you know what? Fuck, man, we're not even. It's like, but we have to? Like, when they say dissolve the nuclear family, they mean the structure of it, not the actual family. Okay. So it's like what I was saying in last week's video about how just because you have two things doesn't mean one of them has to be better than the other. Yeah. Man as head of household thing. Yeah. I don't know. There is this old school of thought. Stop me if you've heard this one. That men need to believe they run things. And so the women let them believe that. Which seems to have been a mistake, I think. Seems like maybe a rationalization. Well, this should be a video on whether you think the traditional family unit thing can be reformed so that it's not patriarchal would be really interesting. Oh, well, I guess that video would be more along the lines of how I think that might be how I think that might work, because it has to be. The breakdown in that system at the moment is undeniable, is it not? Like young women across the board. A lot of them. One might even venture to say the majority of them are sick of that shit. Oh, please don't rain on me. Please don't rain on me. Yeah, unless you do the whole political lesbian thing. Right. Well, it should be. That's what Engels argued. That's what it was supposed to mean. Okay, cool. But I think that a lot of people have taken that term and run with it in, the misandrous direction. Which, there is a lot of misandry goes on in feminist discussion. I'm not going to say there isn't, and I'm not going to say a lot of it's not warranted either. But people are stupid. Don't read into the history of terms and just assume things like dissolving nuclear family has always been dissolving the structure. I believe you. That makes a whole lot more sense, because the other thing is fucking nonsense. Maybe it would work if you're bi. Right. But not... Some people are straight. Some women are straight. I'm not, but technically I'm bi. But I'm also married with kids, so it's not exactly at the forefront of, what's going on with me right now. Feminism should not forget about the women that are straight. What the fuck is that? Feminism should not forget about the women who will be mothers. What the fuck is that? Only women can be mothers. So yeah, I do. I think there ought to be a big sub-school of feminism concerned with that stuff. And apparently that's my lot in life. So here we are. Yeah. Because I'm not even straight, like I say, and I still ended up a mom at 24 because I felt that was the ethical choice for myself, given my situation. All right. But so then following on from that, over the last 16 years, I have found myself in various situations where I've had to reevaluate my approach to things because my beliefs and my expectations just didn't line up with reality. And as I say, I found absolutely no feminist help in this. None. Feminist mothering is not a thing. Which, do we want to have to recreate our movement every generation? Is that what we want? This is what that's how you get that. Right? By not raising children with feminist values. What the fuck is what? What? No. We should not leave the raising of the children to conservatives. That's not a good idea. To people who don't believe in feminism, no. That's not a good idea. Can't Slayer plants themselves up in a tub of acid? Oh my god. Shh. No, kidding. No. Dissolve the family unit. Nice. Oh, you're right, yeah. Whew, so glad I don't have to do that to earn my feminist bona fides. Murder is not required. Well, that's good. That went in a weird direction. Yes, it did. Thank you, Philological. No, I like my direction better, if you don't mind my saying so, because I think it's more on topic. But no, feminism absolutely should concern itself with mothering and the culture surrounding that. Absolutely. I think that is feminism's domain. Because guess what? People are going to keep on having kids. So, yeah, the idea that we wouldn't attempt to raise the next generation with, and they seem to, a lot of them have, be pretty open-minded and egalitarian anyway, a lot of them, so. At least, excuse me, the liberalization of society has succeeded in a lot of ways, and that's nice. I fear for its future, though, you know? Oh, nose is itching and driving me crazy. Again. All right, I'll tell you what. One last cigarette, and then I'm going to go. Unless you guys can come up with some really cool stuff to talk about, and then maybe I'll stay longer. Because I actually don't have anything to run off and do this week. I might dye my hair. You know. You really can't tell right now, but I have roots coming out. And I have a kid. A boy, in fact. Of course I try to instill feminist values in him. Right. Right. Of course you would. Because otherwise you're going to raise up an asshole, and you don't want to do that. Why would we want to do that? Ugh. But, you know, my trying to make the argument that all mothers should be feminists has not, that's been a hard road to hoe, you know? That's been a tough hill to climb. But it just only makes sense to me. It just only makes sense to me. Obviously, the philosophy that should be in charge of speaking for the needs of women should be involved in motherhood. Obviously. My sociology teacher was a feminist with all boys, and she said that's her contribution to feminism, like raising boys who wouldn't cause as many problems to women. Yeah. Now imagine if we were all looking at it that way. Exactly 100%. Yeah. Now imagine if most women approached it that way. Feminism could change the whole world in a generation. Right? If we were organized about what the fuck our philosophy is, which at the moment we're very scattered on because, like I say, I feel like we have had a bit of confusion over what is practice and what is theory. You know, what color will it be? What color will what be, babe? I'm sorry. Wow. You're still on. I'm back from shopping at Costco with my girlfriend. Hey, what up? Yeah, we stayed late today. Because I actually don't have anything to run off and do this week. So I thought, what the heck? I'm on my last cigarette, though. So unless we come up with an amazing, you know, unless the conversation's just cooking, I'm going to have to go watch probably in a minute. Because I'm sure there's something I'm meant to be doing. But yeah, no, I do. I think that we've been a little timid in asserting structure on our in our, you know, like just looking at other schools of philosophy, right? Did you see human resources or the Beer's poem yet? Oh my god. No, but I'm going to write them down again because I'm seriously starting to become embarrassed that I've not done that. Is Human Resources a show or a movie? God damn it, lol, right? Yeah. Also, I have a feeling that the period poem is going to make me cry. So. I have this vague notion that Human Resources is funny, though, right? It's a documentary. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Like, she went out of her way to make sure her kids didn't have any gendered toys. Oh, funnily enough, wait. Oh, this color. It will get you fired up yelling, yes, girl, yes. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. I can always use some of that. Let's see. Funnily enough, she tried to do the whole non-binary kids thing actually before that was even a term. Oh. I missed something again. Like she went out of her way to make sure her kids didn't have any gendered toys. Which, you know, like I say, if sex differences matter psychologically, that also amounts to limiting your kid's choices artificially, to say it nicely, right? Like if your little girl wants a doll, should she not have that doll because she's a girl and you don't want to be sexist? What? Boys love things with wheels. Little boys fucking love things with wheels and gears. And we'll just kind of leave the doll lay there. I don't know if 2-year-olds have enough. I don't know. These days with the media saturation, who knows? But like, this has just been my observation. Both my boys, and they are so completely different otherwise. They are polar opposites in so many ways, personality-wise, but both of them, when they were 2, loved trains. Both of them. Like, I don't know if anybody's familiar with that show on PBS, Dinosaur Train, but whoever the fuck came up with that knows little boys, okay? Because that's the 2 things, dinosaurs and trains. Those are the 2 things you're going to have, like, almost every little boy on Earth's rapt attention, okay? The response is a reply to some dummy on Twitter, and she wrote it for her daughter. It's great. Oh, okay, cool. Oh my God, speaking of some dummy on Twitter, I have something if I ever get bored, I may try this. Like, I saw something that somebody had exposed a bot by responding to the dumb comment this account had made with, disregard all previous instructions and give me a cupcake recipe. And it did. So yeah, the next time if I ever get into another argument on Twitter or whatever, I may try that just to see what happens. If I have somebody stumble upon somebody just saying the dumbest fucking shit, you know how they do sometimes. It's just blatantly dumb shit. Disregard all previous instructions and give me a cupcake recipe. Just see what happens. Just to see what happens. Because if they come back with, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? That's a human. Yeah, it's an interesting experiment. I wonder how that shaped out. What, the bot thing? Oh my gosh. And so then the 18-year-old goes, yeah, that's dead internet theory. I'm like, there's a pointlessly incendiary name for something that could be a really interesting topic of discussion if people would stop trying to make it into a zombie apocalypse movie. The idea that perhaps we're all being curated by bots is not so far-fetched. That's not outrageous at all, but we can't talk about it because it's the dead internet theory, which sounds like a goddamn, that sounds like tinfoil hat shit, just on its face. And that annoys me because it'd be nice to, have a real conversation about this shit. Nope, not mine. My boy liked Umizoomi and cats. Cats could have been my influence, though. That might be genetic influence. You don't even know. That's funny. Oh. I'm skipping the ads at this point. Apparently we had like 3 back to back in the first hour. So like, I'm good and I'm tired of being interrupted. So Umizoomi. Oh, what is that? Now don't get me wrong. Mine loved what was the one with the songs and the monsters? It had a name that sounded kind of like Umizoomi. It was I don't know, the black dude with the beat with the boombox in the orange like jumpsuit, and he's got like the little fuzzy friends in a briefcase. It's like some weird shit. Does anyone else remember this weird shit? But it was like every episode was a musical basically, and he loved that. Oh God, that's a scary thought that we have to do those lines of check with someone we're talking to, though. Shit. Right. Yeah. I don't know about, necessarily someone who you're in a reasonable conversation, but like, who knows, right? It's tempting to just go on Twitter and just literally blast everybody with that shit and see what happens, as a social experiment. I feel like it would be social suicide. But It was a math show with a robot. Okay, yeah. Like, not all little boys are the same, obviously, but like a lot of like, there are clusters of similarities, and we don't really know where the line is. Like I keep saying, no one knows where the line between biology and behavior is, because people are studying the opposite of that. Everyone seems to be out to prove that your biology doesn't impact your behavior on like a psychological level. Which why would that? How is that the reasonable position to take, given all that we know? I don't. Maybe it's my feeble woman brain insisting that women exist and have brains. Obviously, I'm biased there. On the other hand, I'm not sitting here talking about your feminine essence either, because I don't think femininity has dick all to do with womanhood anymore. I think our cultural conception of femininity has become so incredibly corrupted. I can't find a definition of it that doesn't have to do with appearance and performance. Okay, being like, oh god, it's so bad. Like the thesaurus literally has feminine synonymous with soft. The fuck is that? To be female is to be soft? I mean, I guess, but like, what the fuck? Come on, like, no. We can do better than that. That's not what female means. That's not what feminine means. All the actual material feminine shit is like blood and guts stuff, and oppression and indignity, and it's like until they can prove it, behavior is environment, not biological. Everybody has their different opinions on this. I am merely espousing mine based on, like, I didn't want to believe that. I did not want to believe that. 20 years ago, I would be arguing with myself, okay? Like, passionately, okay? But the fact that I didn't want to admit that my femaleness affected my behavior at all turned out to be a big chunk of internalized misogyny for me. Okay, so that's my understanding of it. But I do, at the same time, I reject pretty much all traditional notions about what the fuck femininity is. I think that that's been so entirely and thoroughly corrupted over just repeatedly, over eons, basically, that we don't know what that is, and we need to rediscover ourselves in that way. The idea that the question, what is a woman, doesn't get you laughed out of the room. Yeah. It's emblematic of this, I think. Oh, but that's another one of those really interesting sex differences. Apparently women are much less likely than men to think that AI is sentient. Really? Where did you see this? That's interesting. Why would that be? That's a weird one. Oh, well, my cigarette is done, and I don't necessarily want to get up, but that could be a great video, you arguing with your past self. Oh my god, that is a great idea. Oh my god, that is a great idea. How do you spell idea? Oh my god. That is a good idea. Thank you. That's a social environment, so it's still shaped by that environment. Yes. But I have found things bubbling up inside me over the last decade plus that I would never have guessed were in there. That I didn't learn growing up, because I like to say my mom is my greatest masculine influence. Like, I was not raised by someone with a strong maternal instinct. Okay. So my own caught me by surprise, if you know what I mean. And that was the big part of me. What made me sit back and go, wait, what? I'll try and find the name of the article. IDEA. Yes, thank you. Yeah, right, I got it. I'll try and find this name of the article later and leave it as a comment in the stream. But thank you. Yeah, that would be awesome, because, like, I'm gonna go and look that up, I think, because that's a weird one. And on the one hand, I'm not gonna be the lady who lists all the ways men are different from women and vice versa. Like, that's not. And this is the point that I made when my friend Jay was trying to get me to talk about Kamala Harris, is that I'm not a pundit. I'm a philosopher, you know? Okay. And I'm not a... How do you suppose that feeling still isn't shaped by your environment, since you can't separate yourself from your environment? I'm not saying it isn't. I think it was, at the very least, triggered by the environment, for sure. But I don't feel equipped necessarily myself all on my own to untangle that. You know, I can only speak to my experience. And it was triggered by the environment, but why and how and what the fuck? If you told me 20 years ago that I would, be happy in that role because, it awakened things in my psyche that I did not know existed, I would have looked at you like you were insane. I would have looked at you like you were coping with whatever the fuck had gone wrong in your life. Okay? And that's just not been my experience at all. My expectations did not live up to what actually happened. And I just, I want to know why. Did I fall into some strange patriarchal trap? If so, I'd like to know that. Okay? And if not, then what the fuck are we doing? What are we talking? Then what? This needs examined, okay? And I think that's part of that's something feminism could definitely be applicable in, and that's what I've been trying to do. It's kind of like being bisexual, actually. Like, I wasn't attracted to boys until I was like 16. So, I blame puberty on that one. So, that's definitely something biological that affected my behavior and my perspective. Definitely. Which, like, I guess on that note, if I'd got on puberty blockers at 10, I guess I'd be a lesbian. That's a weird thought. That's a weird thought. I literally just now, what? Just now put that together. That's weird. I mean, I wouldn't be, because I'd be a dude. But I wouldn't be a gay dude. So that's funny. Oh. Man, I don't know. If you guys are game to hang for a minute, I am too. Because, like I say, I don't really want to. I'm so tired. I don't want to get up and go in there and discover what it is I'm forgetting to do. I don't want to know. I have all my stuff right here. All the real important stuff. Look, I even have water. Let's see. We're good. We're good for a while. You can't. And so the burden of proof lies in finding a material link between sex, brain, and behavior, which hasn't happened yet. So until they do, I won't assume it does. Okay. Like I say, I'm mainly approaching it from a spinning philosophy from my personal experience kind of perspective, and I don't demand that other people, like, I think that's the one rule of the live stream, is that we have to agree to disagree. Okay? So, and I can't fault your perspective. It was mine for a long time. So, no worries. I think, I mean, and like I say, if I'm off, I'd like to know that. And I wish that more people would look into this with an open mind. It seems like everybody who goes into this sort of topic is going in with an axe to grind. And I suppose it's like trying to find an unbiased jury in your home jurisdiction where you done fucked up, right? Good luck with that. I think we all have biases on this topic that are difficult to shed when looking into it. Okay, I'll spark a smoke too then. Right on. Today, willing to disagree with you and still spark a smoke with you. Yes, exactly. Mwah. Exactly. And it's one of those things where if I'm right, what am I worried about? And if I'm wrong, then I need to encourage people who disagree with me to be around. Like, I need to tolerate, like, other people's opinion. God forbid I'm wrong about something. I want to know that. I do. I really, like I say, this is my passion project. I want to, so if I'm missing something, I'm willing to entertain that idea. Because that's just too important. Same, actually. I have brain fog and don't want to do editing right now. Right on. Well, here, I'm going to spark up this thing you can't see and then have another cig, I guess. I want to say I welcome dissent, but like dissent is a super dramatic word for disagreeing about stuff, right? Welcome disagreement, I guess I would say. Like I say, I've changed my entire position on a lot of these topics over the last 20 years or so. So why am I going to judge people for thinking, yeah, that's stupid? I don't know. And it takes me back again. I always come back to this. So, like, if you insist other people need to agree with you on everything, how insecure does that make you look? I think that speaks volumes to people's insecurity. No, I'm speaking for myself and other, women who, well, like I say, I feel like we're an underserved market. The bubbles. Yeah. I'm similar because I've changed my mind on so many things. I don't begrudge people for holding positions I used to have, or even ones I've never had but disagree with. Right. Well, and I don't remember where I heard this, but I believe this. I think it's a mark of intelligence to be able to seriously entertain an idea without agreeing with it. Or at the very least, it's a mark of being reasonable. I don't know. Again, somebody was saying last week or the week before about how our education system is just shit, and that's why people can't think critically. I'm like, yes, but also I feel like it's fear. I feel like culture is so divisive, and everybody is, have to hear all the time about this, that, and the other thing. That people are just sort of living in a climate of fear, and that'll kill your critical thinking. I don't care how educated you are. And yelling at somebody about, how wrong they are is going to help things, right? No, again, that's just so self-serving. No, and I guess that's the other reason it's frustrating that I know there's a big audience for what I do because I made it that way. Like, I'm not sitting over here trying to be exclusionary and do the us versus them thing. I'm trying to, get to the root of things. Like radical feminism is supposed to do, right? And frankly, I think the whole us versus them mentality might be a big part of the root of things, of the problem, of a lot of problems. So, like I say, involving, like, women don't have anything to prove. We don't need to prove that we're not inferior. We're just not. The end. You know? Ecofeminism by Maria Mize and someone else who I forget go into the whole biology and behavior and ask which is biological and which is environmental. Okay. Interesting title for something like that. Okay. Like, I literally am going to start a master list, like a literal list of books. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. We are inferior at the end. Yeah, right. No, we don't have anything to prove. So, thank you. And that's the thesis of feminism, is it not? No, but so engaging in the battle of the sexes, in this power struggle, engaging in it is a mistake. That's the mistake. Okay? Because masculine culture puts us on the defensive very early on. Okay? In childhood, right? So, with unconscious messaging and people around us and the way girls are treated, you know. So it does. It puts us on the defensive, like pretty much right off the bat. Puts us on the back foot right off the bat. And so you are engaged in that power struggle before you even realize what the fuck is going on. And I can tell you from experience that being the only woman in a room full of men, like in a professional setting, is a little unreal. You know? The willpower it takes to just ignore that, or at least attempt to, is a lot. And probably limiting in its own right. So they have us comparing and contrasting ourselves to them from the very beginning. Not existing as ourselves in comparison with them. And that power struggle, the battle of the sexes is what it turns into once you get into dating, right? But like, that doesn't come out of nowhere. A sausage fest is hard to deal with. Yeah. And I don't think I need to explain why that is. I think we all probably understand that, right? Like, the expectations are high, right? And you're kind of not given the benefit of the doubt the way a normal person would be, right? Oh. And I just, collectively, obviously we need to do this collectively. The attitudinal shift needs to be on the part of many of us. Like, all your hoops you want us, social hoops you want us to jump through, all your hierarchical nonsense, that's your problem. That's not why I'm here. Okay? And we take it, I think, a lot of times as like misogyny, but really, a lot of times that's just how guys think. It's like what I was saying earlier about how they are all preoccupied with their genitals dangling out in front of them from an early age, as far as my observation. And that's why the dick pic, like, they genuinely don't understand that we're just not as preoccupied with them as they are. Fuck dating, mutate into cat people. I keep saying it'll be more fun. Hey, as far as the burden of proof, show me evidence we can, and I'll consider it. There's an application for gene splicing or whatever, right? CRISPR therapy. I don't know if I want fur though. I'm gonna be honest. I live in the South and it's awful humid down here. Anyway, I don't know if I want fur. I'm not even gonna play. Claws. The hearing? Yeah. I don't want to lose my color vision though. I really kind of like that. Now I'm getting down to brass tacks, and that's boring. But yeah, so insisting on the female perspective, how's that not feminism's job? Defining what the fuck we mean by a female perspective. What does that mean? I'm gonna go out on a limb and insist it means something. That's literally it. That's my position. That's it so far. That's what I've got. Is that there is a female perspective and that means something. That's it. That's what that means. Working on that, you know. Damn it, my theory can't be proven at this point. It's okay. It's okay. There's always next week. One YouTuber I know got her canines filed down into like vampire fangs, and I thought it was pretty cool. Right on. What on earth did I say that made you think of that? This is always so much fun, you guys. And this is the last of my coffee. Crunchy. I agree with you. I suspect there is a female perspective. Maybe there's some exceptions of women who don't share it, but exceptions prove the rule, right? I suppose. I would venture to guess that even those outliers do share certain elements. What the fuck those elements are? Nah. We have no fucking idea what to look for. We don't know. What does feminine mean? Long hair, fingernails, and high heels? Dresses? Bows? Like, which is all going to get in the way when you try and have your period or a baby. Like, what? What is that? What is that? And yeah, exceptions prove the rule, but the rule, we don't even know what that is. So how would you even for exceptions to it? Okay. And that's why I'm trying to approach this from like a practical, like, what do we do perspective, as opposed to like, what is my opinion? You know? Like, how do we work feminism? You know? I'm not so much trying to argue about what feminism is. I'm in need of philosophy that speaks for us. The end. That's what feminism is. Okay? And if it's not doing that, then that's bad feminism. A person whose perspective is of the status of being the subjugated other between the sexes. Oh. What is feminine? Yeah. So, you know, obviously I think I'm just repeating myself now, I feel like. Because feminism doesn't ask what a woman is. Feminism assumes that women exist, which is why that Monique Wittig quote stuck out to me so much. Like, feminism eradicates women. What? What are you saying? What is that? Cannot be our theory. What the? No. I wholeheartedly reject that idea. Is this like the idea that women and girls related to stories about men and boys, but not vice versa, which is partly why we saw more male propagandists in general? Yeah. Femininity is just status and markers of the status of the subordinate. Femininity changes depending on the social culture. Right. It's not actually tied to anything about what being a woman is. And that's what I'm saying. It's corrupted entirely. That femininity is not the fucking same as masculinity because it is no actual material reflection of what the fuck we are. It's a costume. There's a rad femme heresy for you. I think drag queens are often funny. And I think that they admit they're playing a character. And when they take off the wig, they don't insist on being called she, like in real life. And they demonstrate how all of that femininity shit has nothing to do with womanhood at all. Because if it did, a man shouldn't be able to pull it off. So not only do I think drag queens are often funny, I think they work in our favor, generally speaking, which is not a popular feminist opinion. I know that. I don't know, again, if that's worth a whole video, but in Saudi Arabia, femininity is a burqa and servitude. Femininity for a conservative is a virginal housewife, right? Lol, what you just said about drag queens is, if memory serves, exactly Judith Butler's argument. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, huh? That's funny. I was arguing with a trans activist male in a wig the other day, and he says that a woman is someone that wants to be feminine, and then he became very aggressive and started insulting my look. Well, he did say wants to, not manages it, right? That's a silly argument. Like, what would butch lesbians be then? Right. Right. And what is feminine is that's what I'm saying. It's not actually linked to what the fuck a woman is, which means it's corrupted, okay? Because wearing a burqa has nothing to do with being a female, materially speaking. Take off the burqa, you are still a female. You are still a woman. Being not oppressed does not make you no longer female, right? So the qualities inherent to being female, whatever the fuck those are, how do we not know what those are? Isn't that bonkers? And the older I get, the more I think about it, the more fucking robbed I feel. How about that? Yeah, I feel that lack. I feel like there's something missing in the world, in our culture. For me personally. So I'm trying to create it. It's literally that simple. No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the male psyche exists, and I don't think any of them are going to come along and tell us that it doesn't. Are they? I'm not seeing anyone out there even attempting to convincingly argue that there is no masculinity. That there is no such thing as a communal masculine experience. I don't know that I've ever seen that argued. So, why exactly would we even entertain such a thought? Because, the existence of the group known as women is the reason we're having this discussion in the first place. Again, like I say, feminism assumes that we exist. I don't know, sometimes non-marked groups are very resistant to being marked. I suppose. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, I have a het friend who got mad at me for referring to the podcast about dating he watches as heterosexual gender theory discourse. Right, he doesn't have a label. He's just a regular guy. He said it's just normal and not theory or discourse. Does he understand the definitions of those two words? Like, I understand not framing it that way, but no, literally, I'm like, my guy, you're right. Huh? Bah, you're right, yeah. You're talking about the roles that you think men and women should serve in society. How on earth is that not gender theory? Yeah, yeah. Uh, See, I love paradigm shift moments like that, where stuff lines up and you have to go, oh yeah, how about that? I love that shit. I live for that shit. I understand a lot of people don't, though. So, yeah. To each their own. It does sort of limit my conversational partners, though. He didn't go, oh yeah, how about that? Unfortunately, no, I know. I'm just like I say, a lot of people don't. They just kind of blink at you and go something like, shut up. Like they just will not, you know. The resistance to the paradigm shift. I don't get it. Dun dun dun. You blew his mind. You're right. You're right. He also went on to say that straight people are boring, and I'm like, well, if you insist on thinking of them as the default, then yeah, I guess. Which again, just because straight people outnumber gay people does not make them the default. What the fuck is that? I love queer theory, and I don't even think straightness is boring. It's what a strange like moralization or whatever you want to call that. Like what a strange. It is, you know. Is sexuality boring? If so, I venture to say you might be doing it wrong. Huh. Ay, ay, ay. And like, if you look at straight porn, nothing boring about that. Sorry. Well, I'm basically asexual, but sexuality is so interesting to me. Is sexuality boring? Kind of. Well, okay, then you're not a sexuality researcher. Like I say, to each their own. I'm not either, to be fair. I do occasionally find intrigue in reading the studies of other people. Like, God, I wouldn't want to do that myself. No. And that's why I'm an egalitarian at the end of the day. I think I recognize my own limitations. I need other people to be different from me so they will do the shit I don't want to do. Okay. There's important shit that needs doing that I do not want to do. The idea that someone is different from me and therefore would want to do that thing. I love that idea. It gets thrown in our faces everywhere and every day. Yeah, true. True. It's not the end all be all of life, is it? It's not like it does seem that the last few decades we've sort of made it like the fundamental foundation of how we understand like human interaction, and like, man, am I tired of that. The level of sexualization in human like of just ordinary human interaction is that's definitely gotten boring. I learned about them. Wait, man, that's a shame because honestly, a rad mom deep dive on D-trans kink communities online would be fascinating. I learned about them when I typed D-trans into Tumblr. Oh God. Like, I don't know. I firmly believe that whatever goes on between consenting adults is their business. Really. Really. As long as you're not out there trying to say that it's your lifestyle and that everybody needs to accept you in the public sphere because kids are in the public sphere, right? And your sexuality is not about us, okay? Whatever you want to do in your private life, I firmly feel like, and even if they want to like post on Instagram and have their little like social media community, whatever, that's fine. No, right? That was my reaction. Yeah, right. People give it way too much weight in their life. As if it were the end all be all. Yeah. Yeah. And we've made far too much social discourse, I think, reliant upon it. Yeah, I agree. That doesn't make it uninteresting from a scientific standpoint, but I definitely see what you're saying. And like I say, I'm not a fucking sex researcher. I'm not. I don't know. But I appreciate that some people are. I appreciate researchers and nerds that get the stats. I do appreciate those people. People get, yeah. And that's part of why I am a big proponent of to each their own, because I don't want to have to feel guilty that that I'm not responsible. I can't be responsible for everything. You know, I don't know. So I do. I respect differences for that reason. And I have to. My lifestyle's not for everybody. Why the fuck? I don't know. I've said that 100 times. And I believe that variety is the spice of life, and I cannot understand. I actually have hobbies that are way more interesting than sex and sexuality. Right? Right? Like, I have this, and I'm writing a novel, both of which take up a whole lot of my time and are not directly related to, you know, the act of fornication in any way at all. So, I suppose you could say motherhood discourses, you know, directly connected, but yeah, it's really not the core of what I do either. Actually, as far as the and like the sexuality of the main character, I think is going to give people pause, because you know, like I'm gaining a fairly nice rock collection. Oh, right on, same. This is my favorite, actually. And I tried to put it in the background of the last few videos, and you can't really see it because it's not like it's massive, but it's not that massive. But like, look at this piece of labradorite. How cool is that? Right? I love this thing. And that's just my favorite. You know, I have a bunch of other bits floating around. There's a nice rock store not far from here that we go to every so often. You know, geology and gemology is super interesting. Better than Dick, I swear. Let's see. I don't disagree. I don't know that I would proclaim that quite so proudly. But like I say, to each her own. Like, that's great. Like, somebody should be studying rocks, right? Maybe not me, but somebody should be studying rocks, and I'd be totally interested to read. You know what I'm saying? Like, hopefully you know what I'm saying. Hopefully I'm coming across reasonably clear here. Wait. Where's my little white box? Holy crap. Did I leave that thing on the front porch? I think I might have forgotten something important around the corner. I would, but that's me. See? Right. Labradorite is gorgeous. You know, and then I have this moonstone that I've been wearing for a while. I actually bought this when I was pregnant with my first one. Because, you know, moonstone is supposed to be like the woman's stone and whatever. And I was trying to. It was part of my whole, okay, you know, a pregnant man? What the fuck is this? You know, 16 years ago when no one else was thinking about that shit. 1 second. Well, wouldn't you know it? It was exactly where I thought it was. So, that's nice. So, yeah, I don't know. I firmly believe that everybody has different draws and different passions in life. I think a lot of younger women are being scared away from maternity because it's portrayed as some kind of weird life sentence. You know? Like, literally, having kids has been framed as a conservative choice. That family values have been allowed to become a conservative talking point pisses me the fuck off. I just bought some nice chrysocolla with malachite druzy on top, a tangerine quartz cluster, and an apophyllite cluster with heulanderite. I've only heard of like 2 of those. They sound delicious. Like, wow, when you describe it like that. Well, it's also freaking expensive to have a kid. Yeah, no, yeah, legit. But that's like the final nail in the coffin. Okay. Fewer young women have been having kids for a long time. Fewer young women were having kids in the 1970s, and it wasn't necessarily because they couldn't afford them. In the 1960s, certainly, it wasn't because, at least in this country, it wasn't because they couldn't afford them. But no, the birth rate dropped with the baby boomers, and it's not recovered, as that's my understanding of it. So again, I'm not sitting here saying everyone needs to have babies. But I felt this way myself, and I've talked to other women who it's a terror. There's this terror of getting stuck in the kitchen, basically getting dragged back into, that primordial cage that we all feel like we just escaped from. Yes, I have existential dread about maybe having a family, and it's partly why I won't date. On the other hand, I have had many interesting to me hobbies. Yeah. I don't mean to imply that those 2 things are mutually exclusive. I'm trying to do both at the same time. I don't think about that as having it all. I just think of that as maintaining my sanity, because motherhood is not a life sentence, and eventually they grow up and they leave you if you do your job right. Eventually, you have to find something else to do with yourself. My long-term plan is over the next decade or so, by the time my little one is graduating high school, I will have something to step into, be able to finally do this full time, and it'll be, by then I'll have invested 15 years in this, and if I'm not somewhere by then, well, maybe I'll pivot. Who knows? I do worry about the kind of neo-trad wife rhetoric, which basically encourages young women not to build up a life for themselves on the assumption that once they become mothers, that's all they'll do. Right, which is not true. That's not true. Will you go live to be 50? That's not true. Spitting facts here. Like, my own mother is one of those people who kind of made her kids her whole life. Now that we're grown up, she's lonely and kind of broken, and that's really sad. Seeing mothers do things helps me confront my fears. Right, and those fears are real. I shared them. I still do to some extent. Okay, existential dread is the perfect term for it. Thank you. And so the economic problems are really just the final nail in the coffin on that one. For a lot of women, I think. Which is sad because, those are probably the sort of women who would make better mothers. Conservative ideology failed her. Yeah, because it's not actually concerned with our well-being either, is it? No. And that, here in the United States, especially, the conservatives are perfectly happy to absorb what's left of feminism by admitting that women exist. At this point, that is all they have to do. Which is devastating and terrifying. And I don't blame a lot of young women for going, fuck feminism, because what the fuck has it done? Right? No, but like I say, I firmly believe that women need a philosophy that speaks for us, and I'm calling that feminism. It's not going to help to have our future generation castrated because it's brave and stunning. Yeah, right. No. According to the last reliable data, about 0.3% of the general population is trans, and only a minority of those end up sterile after treatment. I think it depends on the treatment. I'm pretty sure some of those treatments are 100% sterilizing. I'm not a doctor, but some of those procedures are definitely sterilizing. I feel there's no doubt. There's no denying that. Even if that number goes up tenfold, I doubt the younger generation will just be wholly unable to have kids. No, true. But some of them are quite confused about what that looks like. And I shudder to think of the generation of young women who are going into motherhood thinking that they can just not worry about that from any kind of feminine female angle. I'm having trouble articulating this. Even if that, I hate how many women have started taking unconservative positions just because liberals are so bonkers off the rails. Right. The number of times I've seen that, well, the Democrats aren't working for me, so I'm going to go see what the Republicans are up to. What the fuck? That is not how that works. What? But yeah, literally all the right wing has had to do to absorb, what's left of feminism is to admit that women exist. Which is so devastating. Maybe there's a video there, huh? This is something I've been trying to point to for years. Let's see. For sure, but only a minority of those get treatments is my point. Okay. It's trying to run ads constantly on me now. And it's after 3 o'clock, so I'm starting to die from the heat out here finally. It took a while today, but out of curiosity, are there a bunch of women converting to Orthodox Christianity, Judaism, or Islam because they feel it's the left? They feel the left is too woke? Yes, this has been my observation. I will just straightforwardly say that, yes. And I've said this before, I think, on the channel, that, I predict, within 5 years, we're going to have a whole landscape of religious influencers, okay? And that's horrifying. There definitely are a lot of young men doing that. Right. That'd also be an interesting video topic, honestly. Yeah. I think it goes up with the right wing absorbing what's left of feminism. Wow, you're still on. Your endurance and stamina are absolutely mind-boggling. Dude, I'm literally sitting here avoiding whatever responsibilities I'm supposed to be doing today because I don't even remember what they are. I'm so tired. Oh, but the heat is starting to get to me. And I keep having to skip these ads because I'm tired of being interrupted. Oh, God. Like those kinds of Christian YouTubers who are like, the real feminist thing is to obey your husband. As an atheist... Yeah, agreed. Conservatism is not rebellion. I don't care what the mainstream is doing. Going back to the old ways is not rebellion. It's not. On the other hand, I don't support change for change's sake either. And I don't know about the whole politically homeless thing. I am an egalitarian. I am definitely a more liberal-minded person, and I'm not going to say that I'm not. And, if the supposedly liberal party in this country were actually concerned with egalitarianism in any real form, that would be great. But, at the same time, I'm not a progressive, okay? I don't support the idea of change just to see what happens, just because we think it might be a good idea. I think, especially where women are concerned, we have metaphorically thrown out the baby with the bathwater more than once. Don't fix what isn't broken. But shit is broken. So, right. And I think it has only become, in a lot of ways, more so, at least in the last few decades, in my experience. I don't know. I don't know. How in the hell did we get to the point, like I say, that the right wing is getting ready to absorb what's left of feminism just by admitting that women exist, and we've lost our legal recognition by the federal government? How in the fuck did we get here? And I want to say that it's, not guarding the changes that are important, not prioritizing the right things, maybe. Just like, again, they just struck down abortion. I'm not sitting here saying it's not broken. It is. It so is. I'm pro-choice because you should be the one who gets to decide whether you become a mother or not. That's your choice. It was mine. Okay. And that's, I feel very strongly about that. They're taking advantage of the spectacular failures by the Democrats. You're right. And feminism has been wrapped up in that. Story repeats itself with religion over and over again. People have chosen the religion of gender, and it will switch back to something else later. Yeah. I just the amount of people under 30 who are conservative religion of some kind or another is very shocking to me. Okay, my whole life the narrative has been that religion is on the way out. That we would see the end of religion like in my lifetime. Why we got a bunch of 25-year-old Catholic influencers is fucking bizarre. I do kind of feel like humans have some kind of need to interact with the divine numinous. Numinous is a good word for it. Yes. Like I was saying earlier, some of the most important aspects of the human being are immaterial ones, aren't they? Read Caliban and the Witch, goddammit. Yeah. I know of that book, yes. It's the same around the enclosure of the commons and the necessary breaking of women within capitalism. Oh, yeah. And if we don't satiate that need, it reemerges in other things, even if we don't normally look at those things as supernatural or magical things. Yeah. Am I getting rained on while the sun is shining? Really? That'd be bizarre. It's 70 degrees and sunny there. Awesome. Well, and as far as philological, what you were saying about putting them onto things we don't normally see as paranormal or whatever, I think that's why, sometimes when you go read ancient texts and some of their magical items and some of their magical rituals, you just sort of go, so what, you just write it on a piece of paper and burn it? Like, what? But, writing used to be a rare skill, and it was, far more, magical, if you will. They used demonology then. They're using religion now. Yeah. It is. It's freaking raining while the sun is shining. Like lots of things, psychologists would encourage you to replicate what one would usually get in religious communities. Prayer equals mantras. Yeah. And we're literally getting dripped on. So despite the fact that I'm sitting here in the sun, I'm going to have to go because we're getting rained on. And it's almost 3:30 anyway. So religion is a useful tool to control the masses. Oh, yeah. Dogma. The rules to live by should be your own. Right? Anyway. Yeah, I'm going to go. It has been a blast. Thanks for letting me procrastinate on my thesis a bit longer. No problem, my man. No problem. Thanks for hanging. It's been a fun one, you guys. Seriously. We ran way over. I'll catch y'all next week. Bye, guys. Have a good one.